Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
Yeah, my audio sound effects aren't working right now. Let's see. I guess I have to install something, it looks like. That's kind of weird. Hey, maybe, are they working now? Let's see. Oh yeah, here we go. Hey, all right. It worked. Last second. Came in. Okay. I just get the right driver on there too. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Well, there's another case sort of similar to the Tepe case. I mean, it almost seems identical. It's going on in Katy, Texas right now with Trinette and Christopher Lopez, 52 years old, both killed. And inside the house was two younger kids, like below 8 or something, and then I think those are foster kids, and then a 20-year-old daughter perhaps, and another kid living there. And it happened early in the morning hours. I think I found the scanner audio too. We can take a listen to that. Yeah, maybe it just gave somebody an idea. I wouldn't really know if it was a copycat, like, you know, like a serial killer or something. They're like, oh wow, yeah. All right, so I guess we could take a look at there was a press conference, but let's look at some of these. It says deputies are investigating double shooting after they say husband and wife were found dead in a West Harris County home on Monday. The Harris County Sheriff's Office said it responded to a home on Brent Springs Lane around 6 a.m. after a man reported finding his father and mother shot to death on the first floor of a 2-story home. Hey, thanks so much, Monica Reeves. Thank you. Let's see. And I guess they were apparently sort of spread out a little bit. In an update, HCSO said homicide detectives are investigating the incident as a double homicide and have identified the victims as Trinette and Christopher Lopez. No arrests have been made. Now, I found a picture. I think I found her Facebook page, and it's old, you know, and this might be them when they're much younger right here, possibly. I'm pretty sure it is. I mean, it's Katy, Texas. It showed up as her Facebook page, so, you know, if that's not them, then it's not them. But I think it is. Investigators tell ABC 13 they believe the shooting was targeted. According to Sheriff Ed Gonzalez, a 7-year-old foster child and an adult brother and sister in their 20s were sleeping upstairs when the shooting happened. They were asleep and awakened by shots, and then they ran down and found both parents deceased inside the residence. The sheriff said the man and woman, who were in their 50s, 52, were found in different areas of the house, but not too far from each other. Gonzalez said there were no immediate signs of forced entry, but they said they are not ruling that out. At this point, everything is under consideration. So we got that one. And then let's just play this press conference here. And then, by the way, there's a Tyler Robinson hearing tomorrow. I'll be covering it over here. It's like at 11 o'clock or so. Hey, thanks, Cheryl Bullock.
Ed Gonzalez, Harris County Sheriff, joined here by Captain Haverland, also with the Harris County Sheriff's Office. This morning, Harris County Sheriff's Office deputies received an in-progress call for service this morning sometime after 5 a.m. at approximately 5:20 a.m. Upon arrival,
it was reported as a burglary, I think.
They found an adult male and adult female that were deceased inside the residence from apparent gunshot wounds. There were also a 7-year-old child inside. I understand the couple were foster parents as well as 2 adult
those foster kids,
son and daughter, I believe, in their 20s that were inside the household. The decedents are described as being possibly in their early 50s. At this point, we have an active scene investigation going on. We have both our homicide detectives and crime scene investigators on scene. We are reviewing, obviously, the scene information. Just because of the condition and the placement of the bodies, it's hard to tell right now if any weapons are inside. So we're approaching it that this could either be a murder-suicide or it could be a double homicide. But there's obviously those things are going to be investigated. There are previous calls for service here involving an ex of the female, so we're going to be investigating that as well. We're not saying.
So when they say, it's just hard to make out what he's saying.
Investigated. There are previous calls for service here involving an ex of the female, so we're going to be investigating that.
He's saying like of a female. So is it the ex of the one that was killed? That seems weird. Because this case, they have 20-year-old kids together, so it almost seems like it might be the ex of the 20-year-old daughter, and then maybe the person killed the parents because they blame the parents for keeping him from her, something like that. I don't know. It's weird. It's like, how could the ex be from her? The mom, the 52-year-old. That just seems really strange if that's the case. Hey, thank you very much, Paul Marino. Marino in the house.
And as well, we're not saying that person is involved in any way, or again that there's that this is a double homicide or anything. We simply don't know at this point. So we've got to conduct a thorough scene investigation until we have better information. And so we'll know a little bit later this morning, especially when the Harris County Institute of Forensic Sciences comes on scene. They begin their medical investigation. That then we could have a better idea of exactly what happened. But a very active scene right now in terms of the follow-up, and that's what we have at the moment. Esta mañana, aproximadamente a las 5 de la mañana, recibimos una llamada. Al llegar los oficiales de la oficina de alguacil del condado de Harris, encontraron a los 2 adultos que estaban muertos aquí en la escena. Los 2 habían recibido balazos. En este momento no sabemos si fue un suicidio y un asesinato, o si fue alguien que le disparó a las 2 personas y es un homicidio doble. Entonces vamos a estar investigando eso. En el momento de los hechos había un niño de 7 años dentro de la casa y 2 hijos adultos en sus 20 años de edad, y la pareja era en los 50. No sabemos la edad exactamente en este momento. Entonces vamos a hacer una investigación. Si hay antecedentes en este local antes, que parece ser que eran con una ex pareja de la mujer, pero no sabemos si esa persona estaría involucrada o no, va a ser parte de nuestra investigación. Any questions?
Yeah, Sheriff, is there any way you can recap who was all in the house again?
Who was in the house?
Yeah, we had the two adult individuals that are now deceased, the homeowners, adult male and adult female, early 50s. There were two adult children in their 20s, mid-20s that were in the house, a male and female, I believe, and there was a small child, 7 years old. I'm told that the couple were foster parents. So that's who was in the household at the time, and they're all accounted for right now.
Where's the child?
I'm told that the couple were foster parents. In their 20s, mid-20s that were in the house, a male and female, I believe, and there was a small child.
Okay, so just one kid, the 7-year-old, and then two adults in their 20s.
The 7 years old. I'm told that the couple were foster parents. So that's who was in the household at the time, and they're all accounted for right now.
Where's the child?
The child is currently with a neighbor right now, just to get him away from the scene and determine what next steps will be.
How's everybody doing?
I haven't had a chance to talk to everybody. At this point, I've heard, obviously, they're pretty stunned and shocked about what happened early this morning, to be awakened by that. And so hopefully we can get them some answers and get to the bottom of it and find some justice for the people, if that's what happened, or if it's a tragedy of domestic violence, murder, suicide, then obviously at least we could know that as well.
So they heard the gunshots early this morning?
Correct.
Were they sleeping?
Yes, they were asleep and they were awakened by shots, and then they ran down and found both parents, obviously deceased, inside the residence. They're both in different locations within the house.
You don't have no reason to believe that the adult children could be suspected in anything?
At this point, everything's a consideration. You know, we're not going to rule anything out. We'll just take our time and be methodical in our investigation, and then determine where the evidence leads us.
Algo así, eran hispanos. Dijeron algo a los hijos de la pareja, los que son más grandes.
Hey,
No sé
thanks,
de la raza de ellos en este momento.
Y los hijos que están entre los 20 años están colaborando con ustedes.
En este momento están colaborando, pero va a ser parte de nuestra investigación, ya que todo se calme un momento, poder ver exactamente qué escucharon y qué es lo que pasó dentro de la casa.
¿Dónde estaban ellos cuando ocurrió?
Estaban durmiendo dentro de la casa en sus habitaciones.
Sheriff, what time did this happen again?
At approximately 5:20, so we received the call for service, so it would have been sometime around 5 a.m. or so, something like that.
Okay, and the adult children in their 20s, is this a brother and sister? Or?
That's my understanding, yeah. I don't know all the family connections just yet. It's still early on, but that's my understanding, brother and sister.
And a gun hasn't been recovered?
Not yet, but it's just the placement of the body.
not one of them said an ex asked, like, well, who's the ex of, the victim or their daughter?
It's kind of
not one person. That was the first thing I thought of.
a little bit of a disarray, just the way, you know, the initial scene is, and we're not going to tamper anything until we get our crime scene investigations, investigators to start processing everything first.
And this was a husband and wife?
Correct.
Does it appear that maybe anyone broke in the home, or?
We don't see any immediate signs of forced entry, but again, you know, all of this is still preliminary. As I always like to say, we may have missed something. We got to get in there. I'm just giving you all the initial information just so that I can know kind of what we're working with. But all those things are things we'll be looking at and canvassing the area as well, in case any neighbors saw or heard anything, or that they may have any camera footage.
Do we know how many times they were shot?
Not at this point.
Sheriff, it's your understanding that the couple and the adult children and the foster child of people in their 50s, they all live there together?
Correct.
Normal?
Yes.
Thank you.
Sure.
They all live together.
No, I believe this is now our.
It's weird too, because I looked it up and I saw, you know, somebody in their house that's 20 years old. They live there, not in the mid-20s. So maybe the daughter's 20, and then there's somebody else in the mid-20s, the son. But I didn't see the son on Ben Verify.
Not sure if it's. We had one on New Year's Day early on. We did solve that case, and so this may be maybe our second one or third one. I'm not sure yet. Yeah.
¿Habían armas adentro?
Pues no sabemos todavía si hay armas adentro, o si hay arma alrededor del cuerpo. Todavía no sabemos eso todavía.
Are they checking for surveillance too?
Yes, you'll be checking for that.
And right now you said there's no signs of forced entry, or they're still looking at that too?
They're going to look at that as well. It's just, you know, we got to just take it, you know, step by step. We'll see if there's anything. Nobody said anything about anything being forced or anything like that so far. But again, we'll double check and make sure we're not missing anything.
So right now y'all are just calling this a double shooting. You don't know if it's a homicide or a double.
Correct. We don't know. It could be either one. It could be a murder-suicide, and we'll find a gun there, and the evidence, the physical evidence will match and be consistent with an apparent murder-suicide, or it could just be a double homicide.
Can you tell us about the calls, previous calls to the house? What were they about?
There were apparently some ongoing issues between an ex-partner of the female, it appears.
Now it says, does he say a female on that? Let's listen.
Can you tell us about the calls, previous calls to the house? What were they about?
There were apparently some ongoing issues between an ex-partner of the female.
I think that's the daughter. I mean, it's like, that doesn't even make sense. That it would be ex-partner of a wife that's been married to this guy for 30, you know. It just doesn't make any sense. So I think it's going to be that person. All right. Yeah, we're trying to cover this case, Cindy. You could just send me a Facebook or something else instead of changing the topic of what we're discussing. Yeah, so that's where we're at. Let's see what
It
the rest
appears,
of these are.
but we're going to look into that to see.
Yeah, there are like other calls that went to that location. So it seems like that's something you would do with an ex-boyfriend of the daughter that they have. Doesn't that make more sense, everybody? I mean, let's do let's see, we'll do but hey guys, if you're watching the show and you have the ability to help support the channel, I would appreciate it. The channel relies on the people watching to create an income to survive. Let's see. Now I can only have 35. Okay, what makes more sense? The X of Hey, thanks, Marty's Bar and Grill. All right, there we go. So there's the poll. I think it's number one by like 90. You know, I mean, I would like be 95% sure that it's not number one. It's the daughter. Yeah. They said that in this interview, but after this, they've changed it. We already know all this stuff. All right, let's see. I mean, nobody knows anything at the beginning, just like they said in the Tepe case. Then they changed it. It's not a murder-suicide. Hey, thanks, Jim Lawn. All right. He had pancakes for dinner. Sweet.
You know, what was the exact nature of them. You know, I don't want to speculate too much simply because this could simply be a murder-suicide and everything points to that, and I don't want to give
yes, this is right what he said when he was outside, but it's been updated since then. I'm just playing you the press conference that showed up earlier.
Insinuate that some other person is guilty, this person didn't do anything. So, but we'll look into any previous calls for service or any interactions between an ex
and they're going to look at surveillance
partner
footage
and this couple here.
They're going to look at everything.
And you're saying they were found in different rooms or
different areas, yes, nearby, not too far, but.
So it's almost like they woke up to the person and then the shooter just kind of chased them around and shot him and killed him. You know, it wasn't like they were laying in bed or something. I'll see if I can find that part. Cindy. According to the Harris County... Well, see, they're just quoting the sheriff in that one. The couple was shot to death at their home. And then one of their sons called 911 at about 5:20. A man had called 911 and stated his father and mother had been shot to death and were beyond help. Deputies and EMS responded and attempted life-saving measures, but the couple died at the scene. Detectives discovered the two victims in the downstairs portion of the two-story home. Both had suffered at least one gunshot wound to the upper extremities that proved fatal. The couple's two children and juvenile child related to the family were asleep upstairs when the shooting occurred. Detectives interviewed family members, neighbors, and other witnesses along with canvassing the surrounding neighborhood for security cameras. Crime scene investigators processed the scene and collected evidence. The medical examiner's office removed the two bodies from the residence. Autopsies will be performed within 24 hours to confirm the cause and manner of death. Hopefully there was shell casings left behind. It's unclear who shot the couple and why, authorities said. Let's see, and then the man, woman killed in shooting. I think we've seen that one. Yeah. So, I mean, I've seen updates also that just say that, you know, they've ruled out murder-suicide. That it was somebody killed them in this case. All right, let's take a look at the... wow, yeah. Jeez. Yeah, you know what, Cindy, I thought, oh, wow, you know, there's adult children in there. But I didn't say anything because it's just absolutely absurd, you know. Possible, you know, it's always possible. But currently, why would we be saying that? I mean, just because they're adults, you know. They live there. There was an ex that they've made many calls out there for. So let's go with that first, and if it changes, if something seems dodgy, I couldn't find the son and been verified. I could find the daughter. Yeah. Now, there's nothing pointing at all towards one of the kids at this point. Now, if something goes in that direction, and it turns out that's the case, that means you just guessed and were lucky. You know, there's no, you know, there's no information currently available where it's leading us in that direction. You know, but that's what you like to do. Let's see, like a psychic, you know, you throw something out and hope it sticks at some point. Well, you're going to have to go back and listen to it because we've already gone over it, Bluebird. Yeah. So the house is located right here in Katy. Right here. I mean, just in short, it's really simple. A 911 call came in at 5:20 in the morning in Katy, Texas. Let's see, the parents' names are Trinette and Christopher Lopez. They're 52 years old. They apparently have two children of their own that are in their 20s, a daughter and a son. And then they also have a foster child that's 7 years old. In some ways, I feel worse for the foster kid. And it's like, man, that's just such a brutal, you know, it's probably a good situation there. And what does he do now? Just get lugged around to a whole nother family again? Sucks. But, you know, when the sheriff was first talking, they didn't really know all the details, but it's not a murder-suicide. And there had been many calls for like a domestic call where the ex of a female there led to you know, them showing up. Like, so maybe there's something to do with the ex of the 20-year-old. I think that seems more likely. That's funny. People are typing in the 52-year-old. Like, how is that even rational? She's been married to the same person for like decades, and they have 2 kids. So when was the ex of that person, and why would they be so angry they're showing up? I don't get that part. But you never know, man. You never know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I just don't know how in the hell that popped in where people voted almost 50% for probably the trolls, you know. They always do the opposite of what reality is. All right, so that was the breakdown again. All right, but let's try not to have a ton of lulls tonight, you guys. So if you're out there and you have the ability to help support the channel, that would be awesome. Thank you. All right, I'm going to try to do the... I found the scanner audio in here. I don't think it's that one. Is it that one? Let me look at this one. No, it's not that one for sure. Yeah, so it's this one right here. Should we get rid of all the audio again? Let me, let's see. Effects, special, truncate silent. And I'm going to put like 2 seconds in between each one. There we go. All right, let's listen. Some of it's crappy.
52 South 17, show me that.
Oh my God, no.
I'm cramming up there.
Oh, check it out.
That's good.
Oh, that's 10 o'clock.
We look right 31 them out. Okay. That's good. Okay, sir. 41 radar. 41. 31. Who was reporting on this?
Somebody. It's going to be reporting his name Shamarion.
Yeah, I'm fine. I don't want to talk about earthquakes. Okay, that's why I always get really disappointed when people come in and try to change the topic. I spend the entire freaking day getting ready to do these shows, and then people want to talk about, oh, great, did you hear about an earthquake? If it was affecting me, I wouldn't be still sitting here.
I changed my call to a burglary of it.
Road traffic. Coming out on the 17, 700 block of Spring Cypress Road. On license plate North San Robert 3588 and a Verizon.
Yeah, I'm just barely hanging on, guys. I'm doing a show right in the middle. You know, hey, everybody, there's a huge earthquake going on right now. I'm still doing my show, though. It's more important, okay?
Block of Smith Landing Drive.
Crazy.
Plate X-ray George Henry 5600.
All right, let's see. What are we at here?
40 Mary 21 to the south.
Tower T4, change this to make decision, please. 41 Frank 31. Frank 31, you can change this to a DDP app. I believe the reporting she left the location.
Okay.
It is in here. It's coming up.
The citizen, rest number 548.
Okay.
Charles, we'll stop on Charles.
Go ahead.
45 Charles 12. Yeah, reference to that information call. No center points, got trucks in the area working on power line.
Here's 1-6, another trophy. 110 suspicious vehicle, 14309 Glade Point Drive.
43 Charles 4 truck. Charles Sweet, detect that suspicious vehicle.
Alpha Life. 14,700 block of Mr. Drive, please, on Charles Victor George 7543.
Charles, are you just in progress? Yes, clear. We're pretty advised. The father fell down the stairs, not awake, not breathing. EMS is trying to, seek our instructions. But
Yes,
not
I'm not
listening.
sure. I think this might be related. Here. Hold on.
I'm clear on it.
Charles, are you just in progress? Yes, clear. We're pretty advised. The father fell down the stairs, not awake,
Oh, fell
not
down.
breathing.
There's somebody else.
EMS is trying to, seek our instructions. But is not listening. Available supervisor, clear.
I'm clear on it.
Thank you.
44732 section.
Charles Sweet, can you send me a minute?
Charles, 248.
Southwest.
35 Charles 13 traffic. Hello, traffic.
Okay, we don't use the word sus in here. Okay.
On license plate Nora, Beaver Mary, 3871. Okay. Units are to the in progress. Be advised, EMS is staging. Reported also stated the mother is deceased as well.
Nobody said sus vehicle.
Come on, Jake,
What
show
the
me
hell
out.
are you talking about? It's just new. It's a new case. It just happened
Frozen. Is
like
there any history of
yesterday, 2 days
171
ago.
I'll call you through with the phone number. Charles 30, hold the channel. All units say traffic, emergency only. All units hold your traffic, emergency only.
This is 9171.
Channel clear.
So,
44.35.
44 30, we're gonna have, the male's gonna be beyond help, and the female as well.
That's it right there. This is
35.
it. See.
44 30, we're gonna have, the male's gonna be beyond help, and the female as well.
Beyond help.
Clear, show me now.
And that's gonna keep staging. That's fair.
52 San 21 traffic.
Alright.
I'll be at 28638 US 290 outbound Feeder Road on Texas Plate. King George Henry 3555.
There's no
42
suspect
on
vehicle involving the case
Clear.
mentioned anywhere in this.
Go ahead. Hey, can you close this call out report for me and open up a secondary call? Same street at 12406. It looks like another vehicle's going to be burglarized out here. No, 79.
44 Union 10, show me SO.
4.35.
I think Cindy's just goofing around, man. She's trying to get me.
Confirming release the channel.
Sam, rest of the house is clear. Release the channel. Have EMS move up. We have one male, one female, unconscious, not awake, not
See,
breathing.
that's that. This is it right here. We have one female, one male, unconscious.
Move up. We have one male, one female, unconscious, not awake, not breathing. We need another unit for crowd control, please. We got 3 family members.
And then there's 3 family members.
Charles 13, Charles 13, that's clear.
42 Charles 40.
He's calling for BMV 15,300 water.
Charles 32 units on my scene. I need y'all to just ping everybody that was inside the house that's outside right now.
That's everybody's traffic?
Charles 24 traffic. 14,700 block of Mesa Drive on Paul X-Ray Mary 17.
Calling for a minor 4750 Yamaha.
Charles 132 detained.
For Charles 30, we're gonna need a supervisor en route to my scene. Sam 35 is en route. 4539.
Yeah, it sounds like they were saying that some of the family members were outside, that were inside at the time. They need crowd control. They're now looking for a supervisor.
4539. 239 for them. Supervisor clear.
40 George 11, SO. 40 George 11, SO.
40 George 11, show you SO.
52 San 21 under control.
Okay.
44 item 66 SO.
That's right, South 2.
35 EMS is on scene.
2 Road West. South New York.
April local at 12,600 off freeway.
I mean, what do you mean? Any idea what allegedly happened? They were both shot. The parents. They're a 52-year-old female and a 52-year-old male who have 2 kids living at the same house that are in their 20s, and then a 7-year-old foster child. Those 3 were all alive, and they ended up being killed in the middle, like early in the morning hours. Like right around like 5 in the morning or so. I know you are not Casey Kasem, but I have to dedicate this to my girl Sarah, who's visiting her family in Vietnam. All right. I like Casey Kasem. But hey, guys, if you're watching the show and you'd like to help support the channel, I would appreciate buying some channel memberships or super chats or whatever it is. Really appreciate it. Nobody's required to, but, you know, very appreciated, so thank you.
Off freeway.
David 18 SO.
This is David 18 JSO.
Frank 12 SO.
42 Frank 12 MSO.
1239 for an in progress, Friday 119 423 Utilities, Park Drive.
Charles 156. 44 Frank 35, you confirm DOA at 0544.
Yeah, so they're both dead.
43 Frank 12 from SO, now to the storefront. Pick up a second man.
So they're both dead on arrival.
40 Mary 11 SO.
Sure, you're fine. Channel clear.
Yeah, right.
Channel clear.
Channel clear.
44 Lincoln 10 SO on assignment.
We're closing on our first shift.
So all released. Everybody's released.
That's clear through release. 545. Cross page clear.
43 Sam 11 SO.
Sam 11, show you SO.
Thanks, Richard Watts.
43 Adam 18 SO.
43 Adam 18, show you SO.
45 Adam 10 SO.
Adam 10, show you SO.
45 Adam 34 SO.
I'm just listening to this one file. It'll probably
North 37 SO. 45 Sam 10 SO.
Sam 10, show you SO. North 37, that's clear, sending it. Beaver, Arson Fire, 2403, Daffodil Street, reporting advising a house on fire.
Okay, well, anyways, so that was the sheriff's scanner audio, and they mentioned how they were both unconscious, and then later DOA, and then that the family members were outside, there were people gathering, and they wanted to make sure that the family members stayed inside the house, or at least they were under control, so they could probably question them, you know, ask more questions, etc. All right. So, you know, we can go down to Street View here and check it out. Yeah, that's what it looks like. This is the house right there where the homicides took place. I guarantee you, I mean, there's cameras all over the place here. I don't know if that's a camera. It looks like it might be. But it also looks like it could be a light going down. But I think there's probably, you know, cameras all up and down. This kind of, this, I hope it doesn't turn out where it's sort of like that one where the girl was doing the garage sale and there's a car driving around, but nobody can ever figure out who the hell it is. You know. And this Street View here is from 2024, so people could have easily upgraded and added things since then. I mean, that's a camera right there. Looks like a Ring camera. Yeah, so, you know, this is just a neighborhood that's just packed, jam-packed with homes, and it happens to be this one right there. When I put the pin on the street originally, I just put it right there, and it was 2 houses away. I always get lucky like that. It's crazy. But that's about it. Okay, so now we're waiting for more information to come in. Wasn't able to find any social media stuff for the daughter because her Ben Verified didn't have anything in there other than her name. I watched all of your hard work in the Koberger case, and then he changed everything. Right. Right. But I still need your guys' support even when I'm not covering Koberger. So if you have the ability to, that would be fantastic. We're having another one of those nights where we have these huge lulls, and I mean, I don't know what to tell you guys. I've been trying to tell you daily, and it's just the same thing. It just doesn't change. So... anyways, what do we got here? All right, so now I'm going to switch over to Tyler Robinson now. Now, the other day, somebody sent me on Twitter this massive, like, their argument against the state in the Tyler Robinson, the information that is put out there, the police narrative. So I thought it'd be interesting if we listened to it and then, stop it from here to there. And, it seems like they go through a pretty good breakdown of it. But then their arguments, to me, are just, I don't know what to say. It was almost embarrassing that they would spend that much time and then really just put out stuff that's not really that great. So they seem like they're from the UK, so we could maybe listen to it in that voice and then discuss it, if you want. Also, tomorrow there's a hearing, so I'll be doing that. And then Enton just did an interview with Twig's, like, a relative.
I mean, both of them are super smart. I mean, Lance was, I do know that, and I remember, he was a, concert pianist. Like his talent for piano music was off the charts. Like not normal. It was very impressive, and that's kind of what I've heard about Tyler, is that he was just so smart and it's just a shame that these kids that had so much potential and such a bright future.
What do you think changed?
I don't, and then being as antisocial as they were, from my understanding of, playing these games and being a part of this discourse.
So it seems like whoever this relative is aware of all the same stuff that we've seen in different videos and articles out there. Their social media presence. They're obviously smart, but something's wrong with them.
Chord group, it just they didn't seem like they were in a real world.
There's text messages between Tyler and Lance where they're texting after the event. A lot of people find them unusual.
The world that they were in, like this gaming world, like that was a normal way that they kind of spoke.
Yeah, we're currently at about 1/5 of the nightly goal. So just letting you guys know.
This wasn't an abnormal, the way they spoke wasn't abnormal.
There have been a lot of questions about where Lance is now, whether he's in the FBI protection program. It's been a big mystery. He kind of has disappeared.
Yeah, my understanding was for the first few weeks, because there were so many threats against his family that and him, that they had, my understanding is they did have a little bit of FBI detail, and they kind of moved around a little bit, but...
So they did have FBI protection, just like seemed like it was pretty obvious, especially when you got crazy people, the Candace Owens types, and the people who listen to her, absolutely nuts, they might do something.
But they're not anymore. He's with his family.
Will he still cooperate with the investigation from what you know?
I don't know. When I first found out about how he was taken in and talked to by the police, I know that they said that he was very cooperative, but they had to go get him and bring him in. He didn't voluntarily go in and say, "Hey, I heard about this, and I have some knowledge. You know, he had to go in, then he handed things over when they asked for him, but he didn't give up any information.
Well, he did exactly what you would think somebody would do. I mean, they came over and he quickly caved and told him everything he knew. You know, he didn't go running down to the station. I mean, what this lady's saying, I don't think it makes Twig seem more nefarious or more hardcore. It just seems like that's exactly what anybody would do. Like if you're a girlfriend or boyfriend or, you know, you thought maybe did something, you're not running to the police to turn them in. You're waiting for the police to, you know, that's just what normal people do.
Until he had to.
There are so many theories out there, and I'm sure you've seen them. People think...
I mean, unless it's something really, you know, like you absolutely knew for certain they did it, and it was something... I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I just don't think it's abnormal for somebody in a relationship not to be the one that went straight to cops.
Other people are involved, or another government was involved. I mean, you're kind of in the middle of this. How confident are you that police have the right guy, Tyler Robinson?
100%.
See that? So even, you know, somebody in that camp believes that Tyler Robinson is 100% the person. And rational-minded people, that's what they believe. So how do we get I don't know, you guys. I'm tired. I don't want to do another night like that. All right, here's the, this was sent on Twitter. There's a lot of stuff that they use from me that they don't even, obviously, they give me credit on something in here, but they don't give me credit on all the other things that I'm the one that actually determined the information. Lots of different things, the exact time of the gunshot, etc. Yeah. This is going to be playing audio, and it gets even worse.
A critical examination.
I'm going to use this voice because it actually works pretty good with the writing, because the person who wrote it is obviously like from the UK or something. All right, so here we go. It's got the David Attenborough voice.
A critical examination of the FBI's case against Tyler Robinson. We will critically examine the FBI's apprehension of Tyler Robinson, accused of killing Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University, Orem, on Wednesday, September 10th, 2024. The story has attracted much interest in the US from conspiracy theorists, as their opponents label them, and the claims and counterclaims can be bewildering. By contrast, we aim to write in a careful, sober manner that will carry the reader along, ultimately to share our suspicious conclusions. Our study will be lengthy, as we are writing for an open-minded reader who may be unfamiliar with the details, but even so we seek to be comprehensive without getting bogged down in detail, in the hope that it will inspire the interested reader to take a closer look. We will show beyond any reasonable doubt that the FBI's investigation is deeply flawed, meaning that some conspiracy theories cannot be dismissed out of hand.
See, making this statement here, we will show beyond any reasonable doubt that the FBI investigation is deeply flawed. That's completely bullshit. It's just, it's just a statement that they're making, and it's just not true.
Though in this essay, we will not venture an opinion as to what really happened.
Right,
we will structure our argument in 4 parts. In part 1, we will identify some key sources that we will then summarize, and then in part 2, run through what we call 7 episodes in the behavior of the suspect from early Wednesday morning when he arrived in Orem, where UVU is based, to late Thursday evening when he surrendered to the authorities, according to the FBI, 33 hours after he shot Charlie Kirk. These episodes represent the official narrative, and we will be keen to explain not just what the FBI reckon happened, but also how they know it, or would say they know it. This will set up our third part, in which we will run through the 7 episodes and deconstruct the FBI narrative, so to speak, demonstrating that it is mendacious and that their knowledge claims are false. Our fourth part of 1,000 words will summarise our argument presented in the first 9,000 words, and of course, the reader may prefer to turn directly to this abbreviated version of our conclusions. Part 1. Key sources summarised. A primary document for the official view is the indictment drawn up on 16 September.1. Generally, this is more detailed than the probable cause document drawn up on 12 September, 2 in the morning, when Gov Cox and FBI Director Kash Patel gave their We Got Him press conference to the waiting world. However, some details, such as the arrival by car to campus, are only found in the latter. We should also explain that we are taking the official line in an expanded sense. So, clearly, with the approval of the authorities, certain videos were released, typically to the Fox-owned TMZ channel. We have looked at these in detail, but for simplicity, we can mention a video timeline, that is, a video of videos that compiles some clips that the FBI maintains show Robinson on camera relevant to the first and second episodes. 5. We also draw attention to a significant article from CNN on 11 September. The first to mention the screwdriver that Robinson dropped and which had traces of his DNA, one aspect of the second episode. 6 again, we draw attention to an article authored by a highly sympathetic journalist, Michael Ruiz, but only published 25 September, citing a senior official who gave more detail on our 5th episode, namely, the attempt by Robinson to retrieve his rifle, even to the point of making contact with the police who were guarding the area. Also, in that article, it was reported that investigators have been able to track Robinson's movements to local businesses and other places in and around the area, although these movements...
Are you guys not interested in this? I mean, there's nobody commenting. We've got, we've lost about 30 people. I thought it'd be pretty interesting to go over, like, somebody spent all this time making this argument and playing the argument and then discussing it, but I don't know. I'm just I'll come on tomorrow and do the hearing. It just doesn't seem like anybody's interested. So thank you all for being here tonight. We'll see you guys tomorrow. See what tomorrow brings. Who the hell knows? It just, whenever you see like 15 people take off and nobody's commenting, it's not worth anybody's time. Yeah, you're still, some of you are, but we had 190 people and went down to 170. Now it's like 167. You see how that works? People just, don't want to take the time. It's an hour and 7 minutes of audio that you'd have to listen to in this argument. And I listened to most of it on a walk today. And I thought, oh, yeah, maybe the freaks will be interested. But it just, man, this is just when, whenever you do stuff like this, it's like there's no chance of reaching the goal or having anybody, it's just, if nobody's commenting, then, it just doesn't work. We don't know. We don't know what kind of ammunition it had, Jilly. So your question is ridiculous. Nobody knows what kind of ammunition he had, except for law enforcement. Do you guys want to listen to this or not? Forget it. Jesus. Okay.
Have not been officially made known. At least 3 sightings have entered the public domain, and they will constitute 3 of our 7 episodes. The indictment expands on the probable cause document with regards to Robinson's surrender, the 7th episode. These sources suffice for our purposes, though
thanks,
it may also be worth mentioning that the FBI have a page of some key sources, including photos of Robinson on campus, as well as a timeline. We have a 50-page timeline of many diverse sources, but, as we explained, we seek to be relatively comprehensive without getting bogged down in the labyrinthine bardtale of the event. Summarizing the official sources, let's now turn to the indictment with a view to anticipating our 7 episodes. 10, the first 3 pages, are occupied with the 7 counts against the accused. For example, count 1 refers to aggravated murder, and count 3 refers to obstruction of justice. After shooting Charlie Kirk, Robinson attempted to hide his rifle, which was, nonetheless, recovered by the authorities. Page 3 continues by referring back to the probable cause that Robinson shot Kirk with a bolt-actioned rifle on 10 September, a weapon that was recovered by the police the same day, and that he surrendered the next day after 33 hours. DNA was found on the gun's trigger, though the change of clothing discarded by Robinson was never recovered. Another obstruction of justice, as per count 4, and in incriminating text messages to his lover and roommate, Robinson also told him to delete the messages and not to talk to police, grounds for 2 more counts. After the probable cause, the indictment continues with a section on the shooting described on page 4 and continues with a section on the UVU surveillance operation. The key point being that a man was seen on the roof of a particular building, the Lucy Center, and that CCTV cameras were deployed so that authorities could track the suspect as he fled, in fact to the west of the campus where the rifle was found. This is the theme of the section on the expanded crime scene investigation, as the police also found engraved bullets with the rifle expressing anti-fascist sentiments. The section records how the police were not able to identify the killer, but put out pictures of the suspect in the hope that the public could identify him. The section on page 6, the Washington County investigation, refers to the place where Robinson lived, a long drive from Orem where UVU is based. The gist is that the suspect confessed the truth to his family, or virtually did, and so handed himself in on the 11th. This would have taken place at the family home, though Robinson had a male lover, widely reported as Lance Twiggs, his roommate, and after he surrendered, the police also interviewed him, who provided utterly damning information in the form of text messages that, if genuinely stemming from Robinson, provide clear evidence of guilt. These are presented apparently verbatim, complete with punctuation errors, though without timestamps, and continue to page 9. A final section on the search of Robinson's residence concludes, and it is explained that further engraved bullets were found like those found near the hidden rifle. Utah County Attorney Jeffrey Gray signed off on page 10. Generally, the 15 September indictment has more detail than the 12 September probable cause document, but the indictment omits what Robinson did on the morning before the shooting. From the earlier document we learn, investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a grey Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 on September 10th, in which he was observed on video in a plain maroon T-shirt, light-coloured shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-coloured shoes. When investigators conducted surveillance of Robinson's residence in Washington County on September...
What am I looking at? Oh, Lisa said, if we get 5 memberships, she'll do $25 worth of coffee. All right. Hey, thanks, Lisa. So that just means 5 different people have to buy 1 channel membership, and then she'll do 5 coffees, which are the same. Or, you know, YouTube doesn't take the same amount.
September 12th, early morning hours, Robinson was also observed in consistent clothing with the surveillance images. Neither document refers to the dry run, released unofficially via TMZ, but it is important to note that in one video a man said to be Tyler Robinson was wearing those clothes as described, a plain maroon T-shirt and light-coloured shorts. As we will explain, only if it was known that Robinson was so attired could he possibly have been the man identified as Robinson in the dry run video. 2. Let's also mention 3 occasions when Robinson, or his car, was caught on video. First of all, we can cite this tweet from 3 October, apparently showing CCTV footage
Now, some of the stuff, this person seems like they're confused about the facts.
of Robinson's grey Dodge Challenger remaining stationary at 12:44 p.m. in a petrol station for a couple of minutes. Ryan Matter on X.
Well, so where was that? I don't remember that one. On video, first of all, we can cite this tweet from October 3rd, apparently showing CCTV footage of Robinson's gray Dodge Challenger remaining stationary at 12:44 p.m. in a Isn't that the one down south? But this guy makes it sound like that's a different one.
In this never-before-seen video that was filmed on September 10th, 2025, at 12:44 p.m. Tyler Robinson was seen pulling into a parking lot where he parked for approximately 2 minutes before pulling out.
Right.
This was 20 minutes after.
Let's see what that does.
Ryan Matter on X. In this never-before-seen video that was filmed on September 10th, 2025, at 12:44 p.m. Tyler Robinson was seen pulling into a parking lot where he parked for approximately 2 minutes before pulling out. This was 20 minutes after he allegedly assassinated Charlie Kirk. The location, https, to Fakoglaho, Robinson's car is seen in the top left part of the screen, pulling in at 21 seconds, stopping at 25 seconds. Second, we can look at this tweet of 18 September with a still from a Dairy Queen, apparently very near the petrol station. Evan Kilgore on X, breaking, Candace Owens releases an unseen photo of Tyler Robinson at a Dairy Queen in Orem at 6:38 p.m.
I mean, this person seems really confused about the clothing situation. It's so weird. The Tyler Robinson didn't do it crowd. And by the way, what are we at now? We got 1, 2. We only have 3 of the 5, you guys. We need 2 more of those gifted channel memberships. Right? See if we can do that, and then it'll reach the goal for Lisa Valenzuela. But these guys, they just don't perceive nor have the information correctly on various elements. And it's something, even when you tell them, it seems like they almost intentionally forget it.
After the shooting, he is seen, unbothered and calm, in a maroon shirt, blue jeans, hat and sunglasses. The Dairy Queen is about 17 minutes from campus. T.co/4 myvjlr9qz 10th. Finally, we can look at this footage from 7:15 a.m. 11 September, 200 miles from UVU, tweeted 3 October. Hustle bitch on X, new video, the most wanted man caught casually filling up hours after the assassination.
Yeah, so that's the one we all know about. I don't know about that other gas station at 12:44 that they're talking about. In stationary at 12:44, so that would be just prior to showing up into that parking lot.
Sept 11th, hours after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. The accused shooter, Tyler Robinson, is caught on camera calmly fueling his car at a Cedar City gas station nearly 200 miles away. T.co/KSKPFQXCD 0 10th. Cedar City is 200 miles from Orem and around 50 miles to Washington State. It shows Robinson casually filling up with petrol.
Yeah.
These 3 sources are not official, though we take them to be genuine.
And he's wearing exactly the same thing in that video as he's wearing at the Dairy Queen.
Our argument against the FBI will not depend in any way on taking the videos at face value, and if anything, they serve to help that narrative, inasmuch as they place Robinson in Orem on the day of the killing, wearing identifiable clothes and so on. 3. Part 2, the FBI chronology in general. Let's now, in general terms, run through the sequence of events as the FBI understands them, along with the evidence that supports this narrative. In so doing, we will identify 7 episodes that we will then examine in more detail. Thus, the suspect may have risen early to leave Washington County by 4 or 5 a.m. to be in Orem early that morning. As the probable cause document of 12 September explains, his car was seen on campus at 8:29 a.m. Other footage apparently shows the car a little earlier in a neighboring street via a residential doorcam. 2 hours later, as we assume the FBI would maintain, Robinson embarked on a dry run. the end of which was caught on a doorbell cam in West Street.
And so the thing is, I'm the one that came up with the dry run. You know, that it was at 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm the one that figured all that, you know, that's what that likely was. I wasn't out there. TMZ didn't put it out there as a dry run or anything.
Robinson is wearing a maroon top and shorts, just as the probable cause document described him getting out of his car. Call this the first episode. Next, we consider an extended period from around 11:52 a.m.
No, we're not looking up that person, Jill. That guy is a complete idiot, all right? So don't ever mention him again. I can tell you're a conspiracy nutter, all right? So maybe come back in 10 minutes or so and get us all filled in, all right? Thanks.
A man with a dark top limps past the same residence.
Hey, guys, did you see Lisa's challenge up there? We just need 2 more here. It seems like it should be so easy to do these days, but it's just not.
Or rather, an adjacent property 12. The suspect is also caught hesitating, entering campus where various pictures were taken and made public by the FBI, including the ascent of a staircase to the roof of the Lucy Center. The indictment explains in more detail how CCTV cameras on the roof caught the man crouching, taking up a prone position and running off after the shooting. This was at 12:23:27, as can be confirmed from the metadata of 2 videos.
Right.
Then, at 12:23:34 CCTV footage put out by the FBI showed...
see, that's something I meticulously did. You know, I'm the one that figured out that it was 12:23:27. You know, and whether or not other people, you know, copied that, I don't know, but that's how it went.
Was the suspect running to an...
Hey, thanks, Jim Lawn. All right. Well, hey, it reached that...
opposite part of the roof, dropping down, perhaps holding a rifle-type object in a towel. He is headed to the west of the campus, but a little later, a man is seen running behind the buildings facing the steel cameras at 12:29 p.m. The idea is that Robinson has limped onto campus with a gun hidden in his trousers, taken up a sniper's position, killed Kirk with 1 shot, ran off, deposited his gun and towel, and then ran back in the opposite direction to his car. During this activity, a screwdriver was dropped on the roof, and the idea is that Robinson had used it to attach the scope to his gun barrel. Also, along the way...
No, they use it to put the rifle together. The scope was already... So that's an incorrect statement right there. The scope was already sighted on the barrel. It was just broken into 2 parts, and the screwdriver was used to put the rifle together. See, what's weird is somebody would put this together and not have that basic information that everybody that follows the case and knows it knows exactly that information, but this person doesn't know that.
His old clothes were jettisoned, or at least changed. Call this the second episode. The third episode, which is hardly a...
So what he's saying is once he went into the woods, he got rid of his other clothes, and then later he wonders, why didn't they find the clothing? Well, because it was in the backpack that he still had on.
Official is Robinson's immediate action, apparently driving and remaining at a gas station a mile or so away from UVU. This takes place at 12:44 p.m., equally unofficial, and nearby, Robinson is caught on camera eating at a Dairy Queen, apparently at 18:38 p.m. Call this the 4th episode. The 5th episode consists of Robinson's attempt to retrieve the rifle that he hid in a bush in the wooded area. This is evidenced by Robinson's own text messages to Twiggs. It is complicated by the further claims that he made contact with officers without triggering action on their part, as he was not then a suspect. The 5th episode would have taken place around nightfall at 8 p.m. After this, Robinson returned home. The 6th episode was the early morning scene whereby Robinson fueled his car at Cedar City gas station the next day. Although we will not insist on the point, it does not appear that Robinson ever did get home that night, either to his lover or to his parents' house, supposing they had a house in St. George, Washington County.
See, these guys are, it's just, it's so weird. They don't seem to get it. Hey, thanks so much, Chris O'Connell. Thank you.
The final episode consists in his parents' discovery, his mother's especially, according to the indictment, that the images being put out by the FBI were of Tyler and as well that the gun looked like his. Realizing the inevitable, Robinson surrendered to the authorities, turning to a family friend, a deputy to the sheriff, as the indictment and the texts explain. Within 33 hours of killing Kirk, the suspect was in custody. Let's now look in more detail at the episodes, again from the FBI's perspective. In Part 3, we will argue that the idea that the FBI investigated honestly is completely untenable, but we will first try to give some sense of the weight of the evidence against the suspect. 1. Early arrival on campus and...
You know what's sad is that somebody would take this amount of time to write this whole document to make it look really official with footnotes and, something you would submit somewhere, and it's just absolutely filled with ludicrous comments, like right there. It's completely untenable. But we will first try to, and it's, this person lives in the UK, I can tell by the words that they use.
Dry run in the neighborhood. Tyler Robinson was said to have arrived early and undertaken a dry run, traversing the journey he would later take to reach the place where he killed Kirk, thus proving that his act was premeditated. The claim that he was caught on UVU campus cameras at 8:29 a.m.
Yeah, I don't, why would I need to? I bet you wouldn't say that to their face. I think that Valhalla guy, or whatever the hell you're talking about, is a lunatic, just a ridiculous person and should not be making YouTube videos on any case, okay? He's an embarrassment. Now, you might like him, etc., and if I saw him in person, I might be cordial, whatever. It's just sick what these guys are putting out. And unfortunately, Beanie, people like you, whose brains, I don't know if they just malfunctioned at birth or however it worked for you, you don't get it. This case is simple, a very simple case, and people like you don't get it. Who cares? I mean, listen. See, look at this. Can you explain why? He served this country. Good for him. Thank you. But that doesn't mean anything. Okay? Listen, I can tell you right now, he's never covered true crime. This guy just jumped in there using his, quote, special forces sort of credibility to try to get people like you to believe it. And it's not accurate. You're wrong. Okay, Beanie? So go over there, watch his show. I'm not miserable. Look how passive-aggressive these people are. They come in here, they make these trashy comments, you fight back, and then you go, why are you so miserable? How about this? How about, why are you never watching my channel again? You ever ask that question? Yeah. You should try that one. Why am I never going to be allowed to watch Gray Hughes' channel ever again? See you later. Have a good one. Unbelievable. What an embarrassment. Okay, listen, I know that, here's the thing, Beanie. You've been removed from the channel. Now you can type and it'll look like you're commenting and, to yourself, it'll seem like but you'll wonder why nobody's responding. And the reason is because you're the only one that can see your comments, okay? All right. Thank you for interrupting the show and trying to get on to the conspiracy nutter side of it.
Has to be taken on trust by the FBI.
Let's see. What are we at here? I don't know how you guys want me to respond to these people, but man, it's sick.
FBI, as no footage of the event has been released. We can only assume that, having caught the suspect after 33 hours, the investigators became aware of the car he was driving, ran the plates through UVU's system, and then located the relevant footage, and this enabled them to find out what Robinson was wearing. However, on 15th September, the public was told about another appearance of the vehicle in a nearby residential neighborhood at 8:23 a.m. 14. This was outside the house of Jessa Packard, and a later clip from that camera shows a man in maroon wearing shorts on foot. This is timestamped at 9:57 a.m. That house is about 10 minutes' walk from the adjacent houses owned by Samuel and Irwin Steele, 875 S800W. The idea is that this shows the beginning of the dry run. TMZ had released footage 2 days earlier, on 13 September, of apparently the same man in maroon walking past Irwin Steele's house, and we take the time to be 10:08 a.m. No timestamp is given, and TMZ actually provides a time of 8:08 a.m. But Grant Hughes has cogently argued that the shadows indicate a later time, and clearly the earlier time makes no sense, as then Robinson would have been doing a dry run before his car arrived. 15, this was perhaps an innocent mistake.
So that's the only time that they mention, even though they've used about 10 different things that I'm the one that came up with.
Hughes also argued that the dry run was feasible on the assumption that Robinson avoided certain cameras and so on.
I never said that. I never said it was feasible on the assumption he avoided certain cameras and so on. Never said that at all. I said I think it's a dry run. I think that on these same surveillance cameras at the UVU campus, they have him multiple times, you know. Now, let's see, where the hell is that? Is this it? I'm not even sure where I'm at right here. Let me just go find this. Oh yeah, so that must be in. I'm not sure why all my pins are missing. Isn't it right here? Yeah. Oh, there it is. Usually you can see all that stuff. Yeah, so the dry run, he comes around the corner right here and he walks this direction. And then he's going like this. And so this is what I think. I can't guarantee anything, but I think that this camera here, when he goes into the tunnel, it shows him. And then it'll also maybe at some point show him walking over here wearing the maroon stuff, going around, checking it out, and then he heads back. I didn't say he was avoiding cameras or anything. I just said we haven't seen the footage yet. See, the people that write these things, they assume that law enforcement doesn't have any proof of all the things that they're claiming. Yeah, well, making fun of her dreams. Her dreams are, she's an idiot. I mean, Candace Owens, there's something wrong with her mentally currently. All right. But hey, guys, if you could please help support the channel. We're currently still at about like 70% of a goal, so that would be great to get there. Now, let's keep listening to this.
That is, he was able to show that the FBI narrative is coherent. 2.
Right.
The shooting and the screwdriver. In the official version of events, Robinson limps into campus wearing a black top, makes his way to the Lucy Center roof, past CCTV cameras, crouches in a secluded position on the roof, drops a screwdriver, assumes a prone position, and shoots at 12:23:27, runs off along the roof, dropping off one corner, heads into a wooded area, hides the rifle in a bush, and runs back in. The opposite direction so that he can be seen behind the houses from the cameras in 870.
What do you? I don't really understand that part. So he runs off along the roof. Yeah, I know that part. Hides the rifle in a bush and then runs back in the opposite direction so that he can be seen behind. So that he can be seen behind the house from the cameras. What do you mean? So that he can be seen? And it's not the opposite direction. It's pretty much it's a similar direction that he was going in. You know, so after the shooting, let's see, it's right over here. He goes over, he's going this direction, and then he ends up going that way. I wouldn't call that the opposite direction. You know, he goes into the wooded area, and then he ends up, you know, overall heading in the same direction that he was going when he went like this. Just a little veering off over here, then it goes over there. You know, I would say, you know, it's not opposite direction. I mean, I guess if you want to say that here, then he goes this way in the opposite, just that little minor spot that he goes in the opposite direction.
5 S800W. The limping man in black was shown on the 2 Steele cameras, and Samuel Steele's bears the timestamp of 11:49 a.m. as he walks past.
Yeah, see, that was just a troll. That last one, it's the same person over and over and over using different accounts. Yeah. You see that? That was crazy. Yeah, I already removed that person, so that means they came back as another one.
Owen Steele's house. The limper appears to hesitate before entering campus, but resolves to carry out the deed regardless. The footage was released.
It's weird how these people write. It's like if you're writing a document, do you need to write it in a way like you're writing a script? I mean, who types like that? The footage right here where it says, as he walks, right here.
The limping man in black was shown on the 2 Steele cameras, and Samuel Steele's bears the timestamp of 11:49 a.m. as he walks past Owen Steele's house. The limper appears to hesitate before entering campus, but resolves to carry out the deed regardless. The footage was released by TMZ on 11 September, with the second Thoughts footage being made public 3 hours after the previous one. Cameras also catch a man on campus, and in total the FBI released 6 photos, 2 in the morning of 11 September and 4 in the evening. They show a man in black who looks vaguely like Tyler Robinson, though the FBI said they had clearer pictures. The man is ascending the stairs to the Lucy Center roof. The FBI have not released photos of Robinson on the roof immediately before the shooting.
They show a man that vaguely, look at that. 2 in the morning, 11 September, and 4 in the evening. Let's see. The FBI released 6 photos, 2 in the morning of the 11th and 4 in the evening. They show a man in black who looks vaguely like Tyler Robinson. What are you talking about? He looks exactly like Tyler Robinson. See, that's what I'm saying. These people are... And you know why he looks exactly like Tyler Robinson? Because it is. You know? There, hold on. I'll show you again. I have to go try to find it. It always takes me a little bit. Da-da-da-da-da. Hey, thanks, Chris O'Connell. Oh, here it is. Yeah, right there. So this right here is Tyler Robinson. Yeah, when he was pulled over by the cops. And then here's this picture. There's Tyler Robinson when he was pulled over by the cops. There he is walking around. And there you go. And then that's Tyler Robinson, Tyler Robinson, Tyler Robinson, Tyler Robinson. And this is him walking here, and that's the video image that his parents said looks like him. So what's interesting is that Tyler Robinson's parents... So listen to this, you guys, for this argument right here. And thanks, Lisa Valenzuela, for the coffee. Look at this. This person says that they show a man in black who looks vaguely like Tyler Robinson, though the FBI said they had clearer pictures. The man is ascending the stairs to the Lucy Center roof. Now, that isn't what we're seeing in there, so they absolutely don't even know what they're referring to. He's not ascending the stairs to the roof. He is in the parking garage in the video. So there's all these errors in here. I mean, it's written so flowery and interesting. But yeah, it says cameras also catch a man on campus, and the FBI released 6 photos, 2 in the morning of the 11th, and 4 in the evening. See, that's another thing that doesn't make sense. They didn't release 2 video images in the morning of the 11th and 4 in the evening of the 11th. They're all from the same time frame on the 11th. Those pictures are all taken at the same time. What is this person? They show a man in black who looks vaguely like Tyler Robinson. Well, how about this? His parents said it looks like their son, and we're supposed to believe you when you say he looks vaguely like him? His parents didn't say that. They said it looked like him. They know him better than you do.
Though apparently the idea is that he crouched down to assemble the rifle. The FBI have not released photos of Robinson on the roof immediately before the shooting, though apparently the idea is that he crouched down to assemble the rifle, attaching the scope, presumably in his backpack, to the barrel, secreted in his trousers.
No.
He would have used a screwdriver to do this.
That isn't at all what the theory is. The theory is he had the gun broken in 2 parts and used a screwdriver to put the gun together. And likely the scope was still mounted originally in its sighted position. He didn't try to screw it back in again.
And according to Kash Patel, 15 September, this was dropped and recovered. It bore traces of Tyler's DNA, the only definitive piece of evidence that shows that the man in black was Robinson. CCTV allegedly shows the man...
Well, that's not true either. This was dropped and recovered. It bore traces of Tyler's DNA and only definitive piece of evidence that shows that the man in black was Robinson. No, not at all, because they track the man in black from the rooftop over here. He jumps down. They can see him go across the street and into the woods. And in those woods, they find the towel and the rifle that the man in black was running with over here, and it had Tyler Robinson's DNA on it. So you got that wrong too.
Man getting up, quickly taking a prone position, and presumably firing. Again, this footage has not been released, but late on Thursday, just before Robinson was arrested, the FBI released footage of a man running along the roof and dropping off it. This is timestamped as 12/23/34, which looks compatible with a shooting of 12/23/27. A little later, a man whose clothing is indistinct is shown running back at 12:29 p.m. TMZ released this in an update to the article with the previous video on 11 September. After the shooting, at 12:29 p.m., just 6 minutes after Charlie was shot, and as campus is being cleared, you see students walking in the opposite direction, and in the background, in an unpaved area behind some homes, there's someone dressed in black running through a backyard. As explained, these videos are nicely compiled by TMZ into a video timeline put together on 16 September 17/3. Robinson at the petrol station. The third episode features a car at a petrol station waiting for 2 minutes. This was not part of the official narrative, but there is no reason to doubt that this was indeed Robinson's vehicle. This is just 15 minutes after TMZ's man in black presumably ran back to his car, the grey Dodge Challenger.
Okay.
It's true that we must take the authenticity of the video on trust, but at any rate, this would seem to provide proof that Robinson's car was...
Yeah, but that doesn't even exist. Has anybody seen a video right before he goes into that strip mall where you see him stop for a little bit? I've never seen a video of him at a gas station.
In the general vicinity...
Other than the one, the next day in the morning when he's driving home.
...of Orem at the time of the shooting. To that extent, it supports the FBI's account. 4. Robinson at the Dairy Queen. Similarly, we accept the authenticity of the fourth episode that, in our opinion, unambiguously shows Tyler Robinson eating at a Dairy Queen at allegedly 18:38 p.m. on Wednesday evening. The image supports the FBI narrative inasmuch as it shows Robinson in a maroon top, though. He is not wearing shorts, and his cap is different from that of the stairwell photos. It is said that the Dairy Queen was near the garage where the car was stationed earlier, and perhaps he visited that place in order to pick up a midday meal. At any rate,
Wait, what does that say? It is said. It is said. So you're just using some random... Somebody made a comment out there. Yeah, it's said that... Who said? That the Dairy Queen was near the garage where the car was stationed earlier. What garage? What garage was it stationed earlier next to? And perhaps he visited the place in order to pick up a midday meal. Yeah, I don't know anything about a garage that he's talking about.
Robinson has not yet left Orem by early evening, again supporting the official version of events. 5. Robinson attempts to retrieve his rifle. The 5th episode is very definitely part of the official narrative and is the basis of count 3 in the indictment, obstructing justice. At some undefined time late on Wednesday, Robinson returned to the wooded area that the authorities had been searching through in order to try to recover his gun and towel that he had left behind. The basis for these claims are twofold. First, that the text exchange provided by Twiggs reveals that Tyler told his roommate what he was doing at the time, and second, that police officers actually encountered Robinson at the very spot. This was only appreciated at a later date, though. At the time, the officers had actually run Robinson's plate number through their system, but as he was not then suspicious, that encounter triggered no response from the police. At any rate, the fact that his plate number was processed shows that Robinson was surely where the text messages indicate that he was. Let's add a couple of details to the official account. First, that Robinson specified that he had hidden the gun among some bushes. Second, that the rifle was found after the encounter. No time is specified, but the general picture would suggest a time of 8 p.m. or after. Night would have fallen, and Robert Bowles' first press conference at 8 p.m. would have passed. Only in the second press conference the following morning did Bowles reveal that the rifle had been recovered. 6. Robinson at Cedar City gas station. As with the 3rd and 4th episodes, this event is not part of the official narrative and was put out by Scripps News, apparently via the open records requests to the police. Robinson is seen at a gas station refueling at Cedar City, around 50 miles from his home as indicated in the indictment. W. Cimarron Drive. It shows the suspect early in the morning, briefly visiting and so not...
Well, you guys are still not at the goal yet, so maybe if we can get a challenge or something going again, we could maybe get there. That would be great. If you have the ability to help support the channel, that would be fantastic.
Likely throwing anything away, it was said that authorities came to investigate after electronic pings had identified the location as a place of interest. Perhaps because Robinson was getting rid of the incriminating black top he was wearing. Once again, Robinson drives a grey Dodge Challenger and is dressed as per the Dairy Queen. The episode indicates that Robinson may not have returned home to Washington County that night. It shows the suspect early in the morning, briefly visiting and so not likely throwing anything away. It was said that authorities came to investigate after electronic pings had identified the location as a place of interest. Perhaps because Robinson was getting rid of the incriminating black top he was wearing. Once again, Robinson drives a grey Dodge Challenger and is dressed as per the Dairy Queen. The episode indicates that Robinson may not have returned home to Washington County that night, a detail that may help support the authenticity of one aspect of the text exchanges. 7. Robinson surrenders. From the FBI's perspective, the final episode is the most damning.
Now we're short about like $75 of where, so...
The indictment relates how Tyler's own mother became suspicious throughout the day, thinking that the pictures released by the FBI that morning were of her son, and so she spoke to Tyler, who told her that he had been ill the previous day and was still at home sick. Amber Robinson then spoke to her husband, who also thought the pictures of the gun that the New York Post had released that morning were like Tyler's rifle, and he sent pictures to him attempting to speak with him, though he did not get through. The mother also provided insight into Tyler's radical political views, confirmed somewhat by the text messages. 7. Eventually, though, Tyler's father did speak to his son, who expressed suicidal views, but Robinson's parents persuaded him to surrender willingly. As they discussed the situation, Robinson implied that he was the shooter and stated that he couldn't go to jail and just wanted to end it. When asked why he did it, Robinson explained there is too much evil and the guy Charlie Kirk spreads too much hate. They talked about Robinson turning himself in and convinced Robinson to speak with a family friend who is a retired deputy sheriff. At Robinson's father's request, the family friend met with Robinson and his parents and convinced Robinson to turn himself in. The text messages also mention a neighbor, the deputy to the sheriff. Robinson, I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. Robinson could not have been at his parents' if he told his mother he was home sick and he can hardly have been with Lance as he was texting him, so he must have been elsewhere, as the Cedar City footage seems to confirm. Taken together then, the FBI have an overwhelming case, and we have added elements that support it. Let's end by citing Liz Wheeler, who sums up the evidence against Robinson. Tyler Robinson's DNA was found on the rifle he used to kill Charlie Kirk, specifically on the trigger, also on the bolt handle. Tyler's DNA was also found on the towel he used as a cheek rest and on a screwdriver Tyler left at the scene. Tyler's DNA was also found on the inside of the casing that came out of the rifle after Tyler fired the bullet into Charlie's neck. Tyler Robinson confessed 3 times to killing Charlie Kirk. Once to his parents, once to his trans lover, once on a Discord group chat. Tyler Robinson's parents recognized him in the security footage. They confronted him. They facilitated Tyler turning himself into law enforcement. They have never said he's innocent or falsely accused. Tyler's father recognized the rifle Tyler used to shoot Charlie. It had belonged to Tyler's grandfather, and his father had gifted it to Tyler. Tyler's former co-workers recognized Tyler's unsettling habit of walking with his fists clenched in the security footage. Every bit of hard evidence plus circumstantial evidence demonstrates, as a jury should undoubtedly find, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that Tyler Robinson murdered Charlie Kirk.
So that was a quote from this person. Hey, thanks, Chris O'Connell. She said, let's all go to the Dairy Queen. It's weird how long Dairy Queens last, man. If you build a Dairy Queen, they don't ever disappear. They just stay there.
Even so, we will now completely dismantle the FBI's narrative, demonstrating beyond doubt that it shows clear signs of fabrication. Part 3. The case against the FBI narrative. We will now argue that the FBI's investigation is deeply flawed by drawing attention to the problematic nature of 4 of the episodes sketched above, those that are integral to the FBI narrative. We then take up 4 other issues. 1. The FBI could not easily have discovered the outfit change. The first issue regards the early arrival, dry run and maroon outfit. We take it that for some reason Tyler Robinson did drive to Orem that day, and he was certainly sighted wearing maroon. Clearly the FBI knew that fact, and part of the official case is that Robinson changed his clothes. But how was that fact discovered? Only one non-suspicious answer is possible, the one given on 12 September in the probable cause document. Robinson's car was traced to a UVU campus CCTV camera, and he was seen wearing the clothes of the dry run.
Now, see, this person doesn't know how... I mean, he makes it seem like it's almost impossible for... You know, they got on this surveillance quick, right after this happened. They went around and got all the surveillance. And they... And the way they did it was they saw him going across the street on the surveillance footage very quickly, and then probably went right over that neighborhood and checked everybody's surveillance cameras. Then they located the one. They probably, played it on fast, zipped through it, and went, oh, there's a guy. That looks like the guy that's that was seen walking. He's wearing the dark, clothing, etc. Then they follow him all the way to the Losi Center building, and then they went and looked to see if they ever saw him again, over and over and over again. Now they wanted to see if they could see him on surveillance footage throughout the day, and then they just quickly get it. I mean, I could do it just as fast. I know what I'm doing when I do this stuff. You can just play it fast, and when a person shows up or there's any movement, you stop and you look and see what that is. If not, you go ding 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 ding. Oh, there it is. It's simple. Hey, thanks Timothy Cecil and Marty's Bar and Grill. Hey, welcome. Look at that. A Megazoid by Pat Brooks. Thank you. Very cool. Thank you very much for Megazoiding.
Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a grey Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 on September 10th. In which he was observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-coloured shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-coloured shoes. The document then explains that Robinson was wearing consistent clothes the next day, which we take to be an acknowledgement that now he was wearing long trousers, as he was in the Dairy Queen. Presumably then, he did not change the trousers he wore when limping into campus at midday while concealing a rifle barrel. But immediately, we can flag a relatively minor problem, namely that the FBI have never published this footage, with the result that the public have no evidence that Robinson was around at that early hour. Footage released on 14 September from the document then explains that Robinson was wearing consistent clothes the next day, which we take to be an acknowledgement that now he was wearing long trousers, as he was in the Dairy Queen.
Right.
Presumably then, he did not change the trousers he wore when limping into campus at midday while concealing a rifle barrel. But
yeah, but well, here's the thing, is like the maroon shirt he's wearing, I think it's pretty obvious it was underneath the black shirt that he was wearing, the dark shirt, right, with the eagle on it. It was just underneath there. And it made it easy for him. So earlier in the day when he's walking around doing his dry runs and checking things out, he's wearing the maroon shirt and shorts. Then he puts a dark shirt over the top of that, and he puts jeans on. And the reason he had to switch to jeans is because he needed a place to hide the two parts of the rifle.
But immediately, we can flag a relatively minor problem, namely that the FBI have never published this footage, with the result that the public have no evidence.
Never published what footage? I mean, published footage of him changing clothes?
That Robinson was around at that early hour.
Oh,
Footage released on 14 September from Jessa Packard's residence shows a car similar.
They keep saying Jessa Packard. That's not who owns that house.
Similar to Robinson's driving past at 8:23 a.m., though how the authorities knew it was his car with his plates is not revealed. Accordingly, it's far from certain that the UVU CCTV footage really exists. A couple of hours later, as per the footage outside the Packard residence and all...
See, look at it. Accordingly, it's far from certain that the UVU CCTV footage really exists at 8:30 in the morning is what he's talking about. See, that's what I'm saying. The whole premise of this guy is like, it doesn't exist because we haven't seen it. There are probably, I bet you we've seen 1/5, or not even that, like 1/10 of all of the surveillance footage. You know, I think it's like that they have. Not, I wouldn't even say 1/10. It's like 1% or something. I mean, they've probably got so much surveillance footage, it's unbelievable. You know, I think they've got him probably coming back from the dry run, making his way back up to his car. Then he changed into the darker clothing, and I think they've got him in other, you know, on that street camera that we've seen him walking. I bet you he's on there 2 or 3 times more.
Also, the Steele residence, we find footage of the beginning and the end of the dry run, with a man said to be...
See, look at this right here. It says the Steele footage shows the beginning and the end of the dry run. See, that's not accurate. Where do we ever see the end of the dry run? We see him walking by, and then we never see him again until he shows up wearing dark again. There's no end portion of the dry run. Remember when he's wearing the maroon shirt? He walks by, and that's like at 10:08, and then we don't see him ever again. Until later when he's wearing all dark. So I don't know what the hell this person's talking about. They're crazy.
Tyler in shorts. But what is suspicious to us is the remarkable speed. A couple of hours later, as per the footage outside the Packard residence and also the Steele residence, we find footage of the beginning and the end of the dry run, with a man said to be Tyler in shorts. But what is suspicious to us is the remarkable speed with which the authorities put the pieces of the jigsaw together, for the UVU campus footage could only have been searched for after Robinson was apprehended and his vehicle identified from around 21:30 p.m.
That's not true. See, it said for the UVU campus footage could only have been searched for after Robinson was apprehended and his vehicle identified. That's not true. That's not true at all. They might not have known who this person was and tracked him. You know, they saw him go up on the roof, tracked him into the woods, tracked an individual wearing the same clothing, and then they came up with the name. Remember, They were already tracking him. That's why they wanted the public to tell us who this person is. Hey, thanks, Chris O'Connell. Very kind, very kind. They wanted the public to help identify who the person was, so they were already tracking the person without knowing who he is. See, that's what another fallacy here. It's crazy.
Wednesday night, and the pieces put together by around 7 a.m. the next for the UVU campus footage could only have been searched for after Robinson was apprehended and his vehicle identified from around 21:30 p.m. Wednesday night. And the pieces put together by around 7 a.m. the next morning when the probable cause document was put out. Already by the 11th, 2 articles had focused on the authorities taking cameras away, in Irwin Steele's case, with the hint that they might prove significant, as they did inasmuch as they revealed the limping man. Perhaps that find was not too extraordinary, as the police would likely trawl through the footage, starting surely with that nearest the shooting, around midday. There was no reason to think that the footage from these or any other cameras should prove significant in any other way, and yet, overnight, for some reason, the authorities decided to trawl through at least 2 hours of earlier footage, going back 4 hours in the case of Packards, and so join up all the dots that we imagine were waiting to be drawn.
See, you know, these people, they write these documents because they don't know how this shit works, man. The person who wrote this has no clue of true crime or anything, so they're writing something without knowing how investigations work. Yes, of course they went through and looked up at earlier time frames.
Joined up. Perhaps this was feasible, supposing that the authorities had only 2 pieces of footage to examine. However, if that was the case, then it is remarkable that the only 2 cameras the authorities looked at should bear such important clues.
But how do you know that it's the only 2 cameras that they looked at? See, this person thinks that the footage that we've seen out there are the only 2 cameras that they've got. We only are seeing what they wanted us to see for identification purposes. Okay? The only thing that they put out that really they were just trying to sort of augment the probable cause was him running across the roof carrying an elongated item wrapped in a black towel, and the still frames and all the other. And by the way, law enforcement the only thing that they've actually released is the footage on the roof and the 6 still frame photographs. TMZ and hell, even me and other people have got other videos out there that have helped put the pieces together. Law enforcement has all of those and a myriad of other surveillance footage shots. Okay, see that is God. I mean, it's to spend that much time and to just have such weak arguments.
Contrary, honest investigators would have had to survey a great deal of footage, but it was not feasible that in such a short time they could make the connections they did. The FBI had found the limping man footage in the Steele cameras, realized from the UVU campus CCTV that Robinson was wearing shorts, then reviewed the earlier passages of the Steele cameras, or at least Irwin's, to note the end of the dry run, and then found that just before this, the dry run began in front of the Packard camera, which for some reason they decided to spend another couple of hours trawling only to spot a similar car to the one owned by Robinson driving past. Could the FBI have managed to assemble the picture they did in just 10 hours during the night? To us, it seems more likely that they somehow...
And who's us? To us. There's this secret cabal of special investigators sitting there behind the scenes. It's amazing, everybody.
Now knew from other sources what Robinson was wearing, though to insist we have not actually had definitive proof that the suspect was wearing shorts. What if that man was a lookalike?
A lookalike? What if that man was a lookalike? Oh, here we go. Oh, my God. Let's go. What's up?
To us, it seems more likely that they somehow knew from other sources what Robinson was wearing, though to insist we have not actually had definitive proof that the suspect was wearing shorts. What if that man was a lookalike? Compare all this with the more natural line of inquiry. One would expect that, having viewed the 8:29 a.m. footage, investigators would examine other campus CCTV to find out where
Right.
Robinson went, and at least when he returned to the car park and drove off again. Yet of this we are told nothing.
And by the way, the probable cause document, when that came out, they spent the whole night and everything digging into this. This was a huge case for them. Charlie Kirk was, a friend of the president and even the people in the FBI, etc. And so they found the 8:29 surveillance footage, all that stuff, after they probably identified him. And maybe after the parents turned him in, they came up with all the stuff. That's how it made it into the probable cause, because the probable cause document was necessarily created after they arrested him, or was used to arrest him. Do you get it? It's crazy. Ugh.
Again, it seems to us that the switch of outfits was an obvious problem for the FBI. In the indictment, we are told, the family friend spoke to police and reported telling Robinson that it would be best if he brought all evidence with him to the sheriff's office to avoid police having to search his parents' home. The family friend also asked Robinson if he had any clothes that were related to what he did. Robinson replied that he had disposed of the clothes in different areas. Very convenient, but again, how did the deputy to the sheriff come to think of asking such a pertinent question?
Hey, you guys, how did an investigator think to ask such a pertinent question? Man!
The family friend
Listen.
spoke to police and reported telling Robinson that it would be best if he brought all evidence with him to the sheriff's office to avoid police having to search his parents' home. The family friend also asked Robinson if he had any clothes that were related to what he did. Robinson replied that he had
Right, he would know this because they probably, when, yeah, I mean, see, the thing is, they're acting like this guy went over there and we're hearing the exact order of it. So obviously, this guy probably, once he heard what he heard, got a hold of, I would say probably, I don't know, the FBI or somebody in charge, and they probably even said something. They might have even told him, hey, ask him if we can get that clothing, etc. And that seems more logical, right? I mean, he didn't just go in there cold. That would be ridiculous. He knows how important the case is, and he probably wants to ask questions that they would want. And he's also, he's a freaking investigator. I mean, that's what these people do, It's crazy.
disposed of the clothes in different areas. Very convenient, but again, how did the deputy to the sheriff come to think of asking such a pertinent question? Moreover, in the text exchanges that we will argue were fabricated, we find Robinson...
All right, we need 5 more gifted memberships to get to the goal.
explicitly admitting a
And then I'll do my challenge.
change of outfits. I worry about prints.
That never
I had to
gets-
leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it the rifle with. But then, if Robinson switched to maroon at around 12:26 p.m., that is halfway
Right.
between 12:23 and 12:29 p.m.,
Right, yeah.
disposing of the black top.
Except I'm not sure why you're saying 12:23. You should say 12:24. That's when he was down there and then went into the...
How come it wasn't found?
Look at, how come it wasn't found? Why wasn't the clothes that he changed into found? That's what he's saying. Because he has it in his backpack that he's wearing.
We do know that sniffer dogs were active. Could they not have traced the item that cannot have been too far away?
I think it did track him. I think it tracked him all the way down, through behind the ROTC building, down through there, and they were looking down there.
To the rifle and the towel? And how come the 12:29 p.m. footage, though not clearly, seems to show a man in black, the clothing that was allegedly jettisoned
That's not accurate either. Here, let me see if I can get see if I can find this. Ding, ding, ding. That's not where I want to look. Working on Charlie Kirk. All right, there's Marty's Bar and Grill. Thank you. Now we need 4 more of those, and then I'll do my challenge. That's what we need to get to so I can do mine. Hey, thanks, Chris O'Cuddle. Let's see, view large icons. All right, I'm just looking for the footage from TMZ. Do I have TMZ in there? Is that gonna go there? Oh yeah, this might be good. So there he is back there. He's got the maroon shirt on and his backpack. And you'll see it here in a second. Watch. See over here? When he comes over here, I wish TMZ would just release the whole damn footage. But watch when he comes over here, you guys. He's got on his maroon shirt and maybe the jeans, but maybe shorts too. You can see it right near the end. So he might be disposing of items. They absolutely could have actually found some of his items in their search. Because look how long it's taking him over there. So yeah, here he comes. And see, right, I mean, I don't know about you guys. I mean, for when I see it, like right there, that looks like he's got the maroon shirt on. It's just the way that the lighting is, etc. I don't see him wearing his dark shirt. Now, I mean, some of it's hard. It's like right there. I've had other still frames where you can see where he's wearing shorts. I mean, see right there. See how he's got his shorts on right now? Because watch down below where his feet are. See, those are those long sort of his white legs and socks and everything. So here he comes. And I think it's a maroon shirt. And I think if you could see the whole footage, you'd see it. And I think he's got shorts on there. Yeah, jeez. All right, here we go. Oh boy, what happened to our the thing that we were doing? Let's see it. All right, I have to go get it. Come on. There we go. Is that where we're at?
And how come the 12:29 p.m. footage, though not clearly, seems to show a man in black, the clothing that was allegedly jettisoned 3 minutes earlier? Shouldn't Tyler have been in maroon at that time if he had changed outfits? Furthermore, we can wonder whether the reply to the deputy, disposed of the clothes in different areas, was invented in response to a known weakness in the story, in a bush where I changed outfits. And note the discrepancy between Robinson's cooperation in providing that information and his failure to tell the deputy anything specific about those different areas. Our opinion, then, is that the FBI were deeply conscious of the maroon outfit problem, and we are not inclined to accept their explanation of how they came to know that Robinson was so attired. We suspect the 8:29 a.m. UVU CCTV was invented, with its corollary of a remarkable trawl of other relevant footage and the deputy's questions, as well as Tyler's own problematic 10 texts. That said, we concede that our suspicions are not beyond all doubt. Perhaps we have underestimated the heuristic ingenuity of the feds.
You have.
2. The location of the screwdriver shifted.
You have.
The second
Okay.
issue regards the screwdriver. A first point to make is that we find no mention of the instrument in any official documents or press conferences.
Yeah, Cash Patel mentioned it.
And, unlike the rifle, no photos. But on 15...
But why do we need a photo of it? We were just shown the rifle. The rifle was something that, yeah, I think that might have been a leak. I don't know why the rifle was put out there, but it actually helped. You know, the parents said, oh man, that looks like the one that the grandparents gave him.
In September, the director of the FBI went on Fox to announce that it was found on the Lucy Center roof.
All right, let's see if we can get 2 more to get to the goal, and then I'll do my final challenge.
And that traces of Robinson's DNA were found on it. Rapid response, 47 on ex-FBI Director Cash. I can report today that the DNA from the towel that was wrapped around the firearm and the DNA on the screwdriver are positively processed for the suspect in custody. T.co/C9. LPI POW, 10th. This was not the first mention, however. In fact, on 11 September, CNN's Evan Perez could report. Authorities recovered a screwdriver near the rifle investigators believe was used in yesterday's fatal shooting of conservative activist...
Yeah, so when they say near the rifle, they see what happens is these people take phrases and try to, like if somebody authorities recovered a screwdriver, so this was not the first mention. However, CNN, some guy on CNN who's not part of an investigator, said authorities recovered a screwdriver near the rifle investigators believe was used in yesterday's fatal shooting. Okay, so now this person goes, see, but how could that be near the rifle if it was found on the roof? Well, because this is a reporter who got it wrong. It's found, near where the rifle was, within 100 yards.
Charlie Kirk, according
maybe
to a
150.
source, with knowledge of the investigation. Investigators believe this to be an indication that the shooter may have used it to disassemble and reassemble the firearm before using it. Removing the stock would help the shooter conceal the weapon in a bag or even in his clothing, they believe. That is to say, the instrument was found in a completely different location in the wooded area where the rifle was. The idea here is that Robinson used it to screw on the scope again, having dismantled it.
So what is this part right here? It's just... Hold on.
Authorities recovered a screwdriver near the rifle investigators believe was used in yesterday's fatal shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, according to a source with knowledge of the investigation. Investigators believe this to be an indication that the shooter may have used it to disassemble and reassemble the firearm before using it. Removing the stock would help the shooter conceal the weapon in a bag or even in his clothing.
Right. He put together the firearm.
They believe. That is to say, the instrument was found in a completely different location in the wooded area where the rifle was.
Right, see. No, it's not. That's what the CNN reporter said. They said it was recovered near the rifle. Right? That's not accurate. The rifle was found on the roof.
The idea here...
And even if it was found in the woods, what difference does it make? He didn't... when Tyler Robinson jumped off the roof, he had the rifle was fully put together. He jumps down, and it was wrapped in a black towel, and then he goes over to the woods with it, and he did not take it apart. Okay, he got the hell out of there really quick, and he left it there. He didn't ever disassemble the rifle again. It was together on the roof. He used it to put it together only, and then he had to get off the roof. He wasn't going to take 3 or 4 minutes, or a minute or so, unscrewing the rifle on the roof. All right, but how about this? Okay, since you guys aren't going to do those final 2 there, if you guys do 5 channel memberships, I'll donate 5 myself. All right? That's my challenge. We haven't made it to the portion where I would donate 5, but... if you guys donate 5, then I'll donate 5.
Is that Robinson used it to screw on the scope again, having dismantled it after firing, given that the rifle was found assembled. But this was clearly implausible, and so the story had to shift. It made no sense to disassemble and reassemble the gun whilst under such time pressure, and besides, the video evidence that has emerged shows that it was quite impossible for Robinson to have done so. The idea here is that Robinson used it to screw on the scope again, having dismantled it after firing, given that the rifle was found assembled. But
what are you talking about there? Even if they found the screwdriver in the woods next to it, it doesn't mean he used it again to disassemble it.
This was clearly implausible, and so the story had to shift. It made no
thanks Marty, Chris O'Connell, and Jim Long.
sense to disassemble and reassemble the gun whilst under such time pressure, and besides, the video evidence that has emerged shows that it was quite impossible for Robinson to have done so. We have clips of a man on the roof running away at the same time as the crowd were ducking, and this was just 7 seconds before he was seen on the CCTV that the FBI released. Clearly, the FBI were embarrassed by their fiction, and so they revised their story.
What are you talking about? Embarrassed by their fiction, so they revised their story. We have clips of a man on the roof running away at the same time as the crowd were ducking. And this was 7 seconds before he was seen on CCTV that the FBI released. Clearly, FBI was embarrassed by their... What in the hell are you talking about?
Moreover, we can think through the consequences of finding a screwdriver on the roof. It is certainly true that officers were on the Lucy Centre building within half an hour, as we have images from a live stream taken by Adam Bartholomew, 24, and we can only suppose that it was they who found the screwdriver. This was likely at least 6 hours before any rifle was found, but on that scenario, it could be expected that dogs might have been used to track any relevant clues from traces left on the screwdriver, or again, that when the rifle was found, because at that time no one could have known for sure that it was the murder weapon, the question would at least be raised as to whether the DNA...
What they used was the towel for tracking. All right, you guys, we need one more gifted membership, and then I'll donate 5.
On the screwdriver matched that on the gun, regardless of whose it was. However, no such questions were raised at the time, or at any rate, no public discussion of such questions were aired. We can only assume then that the screwdriver was a fabrication, planted to incriminate Robinson. In this scenario, we do not expect...
We can only assume. There's nothing else, man. Look at this stuff. The screwdriver was planted, everybody.
That a UVU campus police officer will be found to take the stand and explain how he came across the evidence early on, along with all the photos and so on that ensure the chain of custody. 11. 3. The rifle retrieval story is nonsensical. A third issue regards Robinson's attempt to retrieve the rifle, manifestly the official version, combined...
All right, who's going to do it, man? We need one more gifted channel membership.
With the later story apparently put out by Bo Mason, Commissioner of the Utah Department of Public Safety, is ludicrous. Officially, then, the FBI drew on the text exchanges that are meant to begin with Robinson texting his roommate and explaining that he was still in Orem and had to retrieve his rifle that he hid among some bushes. He has reached the area, and it is quiet, with just one vehicle lingering. He can get close to it, but there is a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. Robinson explains that he might have to abandon it, and by implication, as the messages continue the next morning, this is what he does. However, a couple of weeks later, 25 September, a remarkable story emerged wherein Robinson was said to have made contact with the police at the edge of the woods. The authorities will not release details of the exchange, but at the time the police ran his plate number through the system. Robinson was not a suspect at the time, though, and so no response was triggered. Shortly after this, the rifle was found in that area, wrapped in a towel, and only much later did the FBI realize...
See, this guy doesn't have any idea what time frame it was when they met, you know? They don't have any idea what time the time frame was where Tyler Robinson ran into the police officer. You know, and... yeah, when he was originally talking to Twiggs, he was like, yeah, man, I can get close to it. So there might have been a point where he went, okay, after that, and went towards there. And by the way, we don't have all the conversation that they had. We don't have it all. It's all, you see the ... There's much more conversation in there. They really only put in the charging document the conversations related to the rifle. That's it. Hey, thanks, Chris O'Connell. Again. And there we go.
Realize that the killer was trying to retrieve his rifle. We have shown in detail that the story makes no sense.
It does
Plainly,
make sense.
the later fiction is designed to...
It makes complete sense. Just think about it. I'll just tell you how it makes sense. After, he was on the roof. He left the screwdriver up on the roof. Even if he left it in the woods, who cares? He goes off the roof with a full rifle, leaves it in the woods because he didn't want to be seen trying to get out of there with it. So he left it in there. He was going to go back and get it later. He changed clothes, and then he came back, and he kept trying to get it. He texted Twigs about it over and over and over again. Then he actually tried to maybe just one last chance, and he got really close to and spoke with an officer, and he didn't get it, and he gave up on it, and that's when he really started, sort of freaking out. I mean, that's why he was communicating with Twigs so much, because he knew he was in bad luck. And cops had shut down that whole street, and he wasn't able to get there.
To corroborate the earlier, but the fact that the story has no contemporary warrant suffices to undermine it. Were it true, the authorities would certainly have publicized it promptly. Moreover, we would expect Tyler to text Lance that he was going to chance it after all, and that he had had a narrow escape. The absence in the text exchange is telling, though we can remark that had Robinson really driven to a place containing the lone squad car, he would surely have been noticed, and his presence would not have been concealed.
He walked there.
That is to say, the text messages are scarcely credible anyway. Indeed, the situation is objectively absurd. Why would a squad car be deployed hours after the killing in such a deserted area to no purpose?
Well, you see, what a stupid comment. What do you mean? It's blocking down an area of a very significant shooting, an assassination. The assassination was right there, and they blocked down this street right here. That seems totally reasonable. There's nothing absurd about that.
True, if the rifle had been found at that place, it would make sense to cordon it off. Even as NYT reported earlier on...
No, it makes sense to cordon it off anyways. And by the way, they likely cordoned it off because they wanted to keep testing the area. See, this is what's so dumb about these people. They had this footage right here. And in the footage, they can see that he'd be running across right there, and that he didn't continue down the road, that he went into the wooded area there. So law enforcement naturally then is going to want to shut off, close down that entire portion of the road, because they're going to be doing a lot of testing here, dog scenting, tracking, etc., 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 etc. Very simple, obvious stuff that anybody with an IQ of 9 would get.
On the police tape had been erected according to Locals 26. But, as yet, the police had no inkling that they were guarding such an important clue. Nor can the story pretend otherwise, or else Robinson would have become immediately suspicious to the officers when encountered, and the plate number would trace the car owner to Washington State.
Right, maybe they weren't
Capitol,
aware.
however, it was just in this lonely place, under guard for no reason, the scene of the brief encounter that triggered an inconsequential electronic search, that the rifle was found, meaning that had the police known, they would have had reason to guard it after all. In this context, the stranger would immediately and retrospectively have become suspicious that Wednesday evening, and the suspect identity discerned in just 6 hours. That nothing like this happened definitively gives the lie to the fabrication. 12.
What is it even saying? Does anybody,
other rumours suggest that the gun was actually hidden in a chicken
ludicrous
coop
is this
rather than a
argument here. It's embarrassing. It's stupid.
bush, and found not by the FBI, but rather as directed by them, in an area when dogs trained to sniff out explosives had already found nothing. Such rumours are not yet verified at this moment in the investigation, but the obvious lies of the FBI mean they cannot be dismissed.
Obvious lies of the FBI. I haven't heard one yet. Not one. Have you? The only people that have made errors are people who, like the governor mentioned something about, he was off on something, and a CNN reporter. Now the whole FBI is lying about this.
4. The surrender story lacks credibility. The fourth issue regards the story of the surrender. The FBI account holds that Robinson surrendered to the authorities, with the indictment expanding on the probable cause document. This had claimed simply that the suspect reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This is fleshed out in the indictment that gives a significant role to Tyler's mother, Amber Robinson, reaching out to his father, who then reaches out to the neighbour, a deputy for the sheriff. In the fuller version, on 11 September, the mother saw the photos released by the FBI, recognised her son, called him and asked where he was. Tyler said he was sick at home and had been sick the previous day. She then expressed concern to the father, who agreed that the images looked like his son. The indictment continues with the following inculpatory paragraph. Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and had started to lean more to the left, becoming more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. She stated that Robinson began to date his roommate, a biological male who was transitioning genders. This resulted in several discussions with family members, but especially between Robinson and his father, who have very different political views. In one conversation before the shooting, Robinson mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be holding an event at UVU, which Robinson said was a stupid venue for the event. Robinson accused Kirk of spreading hate, as well as agreeing that...
I don't know. I was thinking about that, Chris O'Connell. I was wondering if the person who wrote this was sort of deploying AI to sort of craft something, assuming... But I don't know. It's too stupid for AI to have done. Unless you sort of intentionally say, hey, AI, come up with something ludicrous and blame the FBI. Come up with a way to,
That the images looked like Tyler, the father believed that the rifle that police suspected the shooter used matched a rifle that was given to his son as a gift. He then asked Tyler to send a photo of the rifle.
Well, maybe he thinks you're stronger than him anyways, Chris.
His son did not respond, but later he spoke on the phone to Tyler, who implied he was suicidal. Robinson's parents were able to convince him to meet at their home. They talked about Robinson turning himself in and convinced Robinson to speak with a family friend who is a retired deputy sheriff. At Robinson's father's request, the family friend met with Robinson and his parents and convinced Robinson to turn himself in. The account is roughly corroborated by the text exchanges. There, Robinson refers to the father sending a photo of the rifle and also refers to Grandpa. My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it is very unique. Hez calling me RN, not answering. The suspect eventually texts his roommate. I'm gonna turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbours here is a deputy for the sheriff. However, the text messages make no mention of Tyler's mother, to whom Robinson had supposedly spoken. A more serious issue regards his overnight location.
See, but that's the thing, is like, who cares if it doesn't mention his mother? It's just, there's dots. They left a bunch of stuff out, okay, of that text conversation. And what difference does it make? It's like, ooh, they're hiding something.
The Wednesday evening section of the text exchange implies that Tyler, being stuck in Orem, will get home to Lance, but the Thursday morning texts are written as if he is still away from him, given that he is still texting and not speaking face-to-face.
You don't know what time anything was texted.
From the context, he is certainly not at his parents' home, though perhaps when he texts Lance to say he is turning himself in, he has got home. So where was he? Given that we have presented a cogent argument to the effect that the text. 13. Exchanges on the rifle retrieval were invented, we are inclined to regard the problem as another silly blunder on the part of the authors. At the time of writing, we are uncertain of where the three Robinsons, Tyler, his father Matt, and mother Amber lived.
We are, though. I mean, maybe not at the time of it, but as soon as his name was mentioned, we went out and found where he lived.
Indictment.
And his car is actually parked. Remember that? Like, I think it was, let's see. I bet it's still in the images. I think it's, what is it, way down. I'm not sure. Like, I think it's here, right? I mean, I think even in that picture might be his car. That one in the middle there. Oh, look at that. They blacked it out after that. That's crazy. That used to not be blacked out. What's funny?
Gives Tyler's address as W. Cimarron Drive, St. George, and 50 miles from Cedar City, where Amber Robinson was said to have lived. It seems possible, then, that Tyler was with his mother Wednesday night, or perhaps his grandmother, though this is far from clear. Still, it might be thought that we will eventually hear that Tyler's mother corroborates her story, apparently given to the police. That prospect would cast doubt on our reading, but on the current evidence it looks to us as if the mother's testimony was invented even as the suicidal feelings were. For example,
Hey, Christopher, that's not what he said. You sound kind of crazy.
In his December court appearance, Tyler reportedly smiled at family.
I'm talking about Christopher McFall.
While his mother teared up, 29, a sign, perhaps, that the mother's communications to the police...
Listen, you guys, there's no conspiracy in this case, other than maybe some people on Discord with Tyler Robinson, etc. There isn't any other thing going on. Okay? Now, you don't have to... I think the "this is nuts" is they're listening to the argument. Let me... I think. I haven't seen anything else. What do you think? Let's see what they have to say. What's nuts, Billie Jean? The argument? No, it's a new account. I just want to see what they're saying, what "this is nuts" is about. Just trying to... Like when they say "this is nuts," are they talking about the article or what I'm saying about the article? And then I'll do exactly what... I'm trying to give people like extra shots, but I don't know, man. Oh, is that who that is? Okay. Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, it's the same person. I see.
Were misrepresented in the indictment.
So good call.
We will now take up 4 miscellaneous problems with the investigation. 1. The lie about the campus police officer rushing to the Lucy Center roof. The first issue regards a claim in the indictment that we believe to be fabricated, namely that immediately after the shooting, a UVU police officer surveyed the location and rushed to the Lucy Center roof.
Yeah, that's these guys sort of choosing. That is how they worded it. Wasn't the greatest wording in the world, but I've also seen other times where that person observed somebody up there and they knew where to go. Like they went over to that rooftop. Okay, but me, just when I figured out the case, I was within 20 feet of the shooting location within about 30 minutes of knowing that there was a shooting that happened. Like we literally went on and I go, oh, it's right there. This is where it would have came from. This makes sense.
It is certainly true that within about half an hour officers were on the roof, as they were filmed there, but the evidence suggests that no officer rushed to that spot instantly.
Yeah, but when you say, what's instantly mean? So even if an officer rushed there instantly, it would take him 3 or 4 minutes to get to there. Okay? He wouldn't get there instantly. Like, he's not going to plop onto the scene. You have to go all the way. God, these people are stupid. I don't know where this is what makes me angry, are arguments like this that are just so poorly thought out and they're just sort of whimsically created with no, really any thought whatsoever put to it. Yeah, so you've got this, here's where the shooting took place. So if there was an officer up here or anywhere down here that observed, they would literally have to go all the way over here or go up some ladders that are over there, come up here, go up the stairs, and then make their way up the stairs right there to here, and then notice things and walk over to there. It would take minutes to do that.
We have argued the case in detail 30, and here we can bullet some key points. The rushing officer would not likely have rushed to such a potentially dangerous scene alone, and without access to CCTV that was available to offer some protection. No contemporaneous reports, or indeed subsequent reports, of this deed has come to light, including from Police Chief Jeff Long, nor indeed the probable cause charge sheet filed 4 days earlier. Immediately after the shooting, the police were otherwise engaged, for example, in arresting George Zinn and inspecting the courtyard for clues on the ground. Police audio dispatch actually indicates that the CS building was a place of interest, and we even hear of a masked man in tactical gear and of a particular vehicle, a blue Honda Odyssey. It was reported...
Now, when you say we hear of, you mean the people out there. Yeah, I mean, there was a little mention early on, but you're just talking about 911, dispatchers, people throwing out this and that and the other thing. But hey, guys, if you're out there, if you want to help support the channel so we can have a decent type of night, that would be great. Thank you.
At 12:35 p.m. that a student was locked down in the Lucy Center building, where she remained for a while as police cleared building after building with no indication that anyone was yet on the roof. We are very confident of our ground on this point, and we do not expect to see the non-existent officer in court, but perhaps the reader...
Of course the officer will be in court. The officer does exist. I think when I remember early on, an officer said that, or it was stated in a press conference or something, or I don't know exactly where it was, but he looked up and... I don't know, no, it's hard to remember now, but it was something like they observed something and then they went up to that rooftop where the shot was coming from. And that's where they found those things. I mean, what's the conspiracy here? Why would you... I don't know, man. It's just so crazy. They're going to have all of this. That guy is going to testify. No doubt about it.
Feels we are being picky, making such a big deal over a few minutes here or there. However, again in some detail, we have offered an explanation for. 14. The lie, focusing on the role that the fictional officer plays in the indictment.
So now it's like, how often do you beat your wife? They say the lie, focusing on the role of the fictional officer. So there's a fictional officer, clearly you've established that the officer who found the rooftop area is fictional, so therefore everything after that is going to be false.
In the section on page 4, titled The UVU Surveillance Investigation, namely, that it was the discoveries of the early campus policeman that triggered an intensive review of the CCTV footage. In reality, though, it was the FBI, who arrived after 12:39 p.m., who were clearly taking command of the operation and knew precisely what to hunt for. To note just one detail, we know from the often viewed...
Of course they knew precisely what to hunt for. That's exactly what the FBI does. That's why you call them in.
Footage of Bartholomew that the corner of the Lucy Center, whence the suspect dropped, was of no interest to the police for the first half hour after the shooting. Bartholomew dwelt on precisely...
No, he didn't. He filmed that probably like 8 or 9 minutes afterwards. It was in the background. You don't have any idea if the cops were already up there walking around doing anything. You don't know.
That spot for no less than 2 whole minutes to show that nothing whatsoever...
Here, maybe we can, let's see. Let me see if I can just find that in 2 seconds. Maybe not 2, but... Okay. So here we go. No, it's been after. Oh, right here. That's right, 12, 20, 3. Here it comes. Yeah, this one was off. This time code here on this one. I did another one later that was better. Let's see. What is this one? Does this even have a time code on this one? No. Let me try this one.
So before we had a flag and we had it so it was positioned above the tent so it would be in the camera and made us move.
Yeah, see, it's actually 5 seconds after that. That's because at the beginning of the video there's 5 seconds of darkness. So anyways, let's just look at it. So Bartholomew's going around and then he finally makes it down here. And then he you know, he's not focusing in. He makes it sound like he's focusing in on the Losi Center building. There's a couple shots where you can see it. Like up there. See, Losi Center building's right up in there. But it's blocked by... And then let's see. Okay, so right now it's 12:34. This is 10 minutes later. And right up there would be the... You can't see it through the trees. So, I mean, the guy's being intellectually dishonest just typing it like that. I mean, you don't... You can't even see through the tree that's up there. There could be a guy standing up there. Yeah, so that's just garbage. See what I'm saying?
Whatever was happening there, and yet the FBI would later release CCTV that showed the suspect running in the general direction of the wooded area where many armed officers gathered that afternoon, and cameras recovered, and so on, eventually leading to the discovery of a rifle later that night. The FBI were very explicit on the link between releasing the CCTV and the consequent discoveries, and we can cite them. The FBI is releasing video of the shooter who murdered Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University on September 10, 2025. Following the shooting, the individual jumps from a rooftop and runs away from the location. Trace evidence collected from the rooftop includes shoe impressions, a forearm imprint, and a palm print. The shooter's weapon and ammunition were recovered from a wooded area near the university. The full video can be viewed at fbi.gov/video-shooting-video-091025.mp4, or could be said, but let this serve to strengthen our claim that the speedy joining up of the dots by the FBI was too good to be true. The feds, but not the campus police at the scene, knew precisely what to look for. 2. The questionable likeness of the suspect to Tyler Robinson. A second issue can be touched on briefly, as to some extent various readers may have differing opinions, but it seems to us that the photos of the man mounting the stairs released by the FBI do not look like the mugshot of Tyler Robinson. We tweeted a thread on this issue citing AI facial recognition, and here we can provide a link that will list 6 notable differences. Chris Friel on X, Josh Davison.
Idiots.
For example, the sideburns in the mugshot look longer than those in the photo of the stairwell. This adds suspicion to the idea that Tyler
look longer than the mugshot of the stairwell. I mean, the mugshot looks longer than the... Jesus.
Tyler's mother recognized him, and perhaps explains why the story was invented, if it was, as one would expect a mother to recognize her own son. On the other hand, in our opinion, the Dairy Queen photo does look like Tyler.
All right,
3.
because he was there.
Outfit anomalies. A related issue regards various anomalies regarding the outfit changes, and here we will raise an hypothesis, namely that while Robinson was very likely in Orem wearing a maroon top and black hat, as per the Dairy Queen footage, it's possible that someone set out to clumsily impersonate him with slightly different clothing. The black shirt of the roof guy is the obvious change, along with sunglasses, but it seems to us that the hat in the stairwell photos was different from the hat in Dairy Queen, the white logo in the centre is different, and it's been. 15. Suggested that the backpack looks different in the dry run, where of course Tyler was in short trousers. The FBI disregards these differences, desperately putting out the notion that the suspect disposed of the shooting clothes without, however, the police being able to recover them. Finally, we can note that very early on, as soon as Robinson's identity was known, photos emerged of the young man wearing maroon, a black hat, and similar Converse shoes. It would be interesting to know exactly what shoes Robinson was wearing when he was apprehended, though, as to us, it seems the shoelaces were tied differently from the stairwell photos.
Oh, God. Jesus.
4. The inauthentic text exchange. We have already faulted the authenticity of the text exchange, and we can add a few more anomalies. To begin, we learn that these were provided by the roommate, which is surprising, as we might expect the FBI to be able to access Robinson's phone calls. Worse, the exchange begins. Drop what you are doing, look under my keyboard. The roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note that stated, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. Police found a photograph of this note. How come Robinson's own computer was not used to source the note, as opposed to a photo of a destroyed printout? Nor is the awkward tenses in the instruction reassuring, I had the opportunity, I am going to take it. Why would Robinson have written that way? In relation to the 2 arrests, we are also told that Robinson, no, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. This allows us to place the exchange as later than early evening, but Robinson would not likely know that George Zinn was a crazy old dude, as he was, had certainly no reason.
Yeah, he did, because it was on Twitter in 2 seconds. And Tyler Robinson was checking on Twitter just like everybody else. George Zinn, that guy was it was absolutely a name and part of the case in 2 seconds. And he didn't say George Zinn. He said some old dude. That's what we all saw. It was almost immediate when that went out on Twitter.
Reason to know anything about the way that Zachariah Qureshi was dressed. Yet another blunder. The fucking messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge ooh on Fox News, I might have a stroke, alright, I'm gonna have to leave it. That really fucking sucks. That is, the writer of the texts has ooh, not ow. To us it seems as though more than one hand was...
No, what it means is when the FBI deciphered it, they got it wrong. You know, when they put OWO or UWU, they did it wrong. You know, we already knew that. Remember, that was something that people said, I think it says UWU.
Was involved in the fabrication, and that those responsible were not fully cognizant of what they were meant to be doing. Earlier, the engraved bullets, fired cartridge, was described as fired cartridge. Notices bulge, owo. What's this? Owo refers to, oh wow, the surprise at seeing a male bulge in female clothing, but the scriptwriter seems to think it abbreviates Utah Valley University. 16. Very ill thought out are the messages that are meant to have taken place the next...
UWU isn't Utah Valley University. UWU. Hold on a second. Yeah, so look at UWU is an emoticon representing happiness, warmth, or affection. U as closed eyes, and W and cat-like mouth. See, it's actually it's like using the trans furry community, you know. So UWU is what it said. This OWO here is what was wrong. Okay, that was the quick writing and the probable cause of what they thought it said on there.
Morning, as they now suggest that pictures of the rifle have come into the public domain, which they did via the New York Post. Tyler texts Lance, Robinson, delete this exchange. My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it is very unique. Hez calling me RN, not answering. Where exactly is Tyler supposed to be? With his family or with Lance? From the fact that his family are now following up the news of the discovered rifle and chasing Tyler, we can assume he is not at home, but if he is with Lance, why does he need to communicate with him by text?
He's not with Lance.
That said...
I think this is the same evening like later in the evening after he wasn't able to get it.
It seems likely that Robinson did not return to St. George that night. Still, the texts indicate that he would. He texted his lover, stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home. This suggests he will return to his lover, all I worry about, without any suggestion that he could not make it home to Lance. At 7:15 a.m. Thursday morning, Tyler was 50 miles from his true love, hours before the photos would be put out. If he could not make it home, the text exchange ought to have explained why. 17. Part 4. Summary of the case against the FBI. In the final part of our long essay, we will summarize what we have argued at length in the first 3 parts. Tyler James Robinson stands accused of shooting Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University, Orem, on 10 September. Robinson certainly drove to Orem in his grey Dodge Challenger, where he wore a plain maroon top, but the FBI case indicating that he arrived early, performed a dry run, got on the roof, dropping a DNA-laden screwdriver, hid a gun that he tried to retrieve, all the while texting his misdeeds and eventually confessing to his parents, falls apart under critical examination. Plainly, another man designed to look like Robinson was on the roof that day. A first problem with the FBI case regards the early arrival on campus and the dry run.
Look at that. Plainly, another man designed to look like Robinson. Designed to look like Robinson was on the roof that day.
In the neighborhood, in which a man approximately dressed like Tyler, maroon top, though with shorts, was spotted on camera. Trouble is, it's deeply implausible that the FBI, who were clearly taking over the UVU campus police investigation and knew exactly where to look, could put all the pieces of the jigsaw together in just 10 hours overnight. The point here is that the feds could only get going after the arrest when they knew what car Tyler was driving, whereupon they could run the plates through the UVU campus camera, locate the vehicle, note that Tyler was wearing maroon, as he was, though with shorts as he probably wasn't, and then extract vital information from just 2 unrelated locations, which meant retrawling through the previous hours of footage to happen upon the ambiguous yet forensically vital information. This might be possible, but it ought to raise some alarms, especially as the FBI seemed to have ignored the more natural line of inquiry, examining campus CCTV to see where Robinson went, and when he returned to his vehicle after arriving at 8:29 a.m., a second problem is the screwdriver, which we note has not made it into the official documents or press conferences, likely meaning that it will not be tendered in court, so that its discoverer will never have to take
it definitely will make it in court. We just didn't get to see it because it wasn't presented to the public. What kind of who is this person?
Stand and give evidence under oath about the discovery. The screwdriver was meant to have been found on the roof where the sniper assembled the rifle, attaching the scope to the barrel he had hidden in his trousers.
No, fool, that's not what he was doing. He merely put together the stock and the barrel together. That's what he was doing on the roof with the screwdriver. The scope had already been sighted in. He was just screwing the 2 main parts together that were in his pants.
But the whole idea was a blunder. To begin with, the earliest mention of the tool arises on 11th September, shortly after the FBI announced that the rifle and towel were found, and crucially, the screwdriver was said to have been found near the gun. Thus, in the beginning, the rifle towel screwdriver represented a single discovery. Then the idea was quickly disseminated.
Yeah, this is just like Ancient Aliens right here. You know, absolutely like Ancient Aliens. Like, he went on a premise that he's saying is true and then says, therefore. You know, but it's not true, your premise. You know, it's not true at all. You're saying because CNN reported that the screwdriver was found near the gun means that it wasn't found on the roof, like Kash Patel said and other people have said. You're going with the one that sort of helps your story out, even though it's just a CNN reporter.
Emanated that Robinson had taken the gun apart on the roof and reassembled it in the hiding place. This was before any videos of him dropping off the roof were released. But that idea was silly, as Robinson was under too much time pressure, and in fact we know that it was unfeasible. The FBI's footage shows the man on the roof in full sprint after 7 seconds, and indeed the runner can be seen even as the crowd are ducking. Clearly then the story had to shift, and FBI Director Kash Patel, no less, explained to Fox 4 days later, when the DNA on both screwdriver, towel and rifle had been processed.
The story never shifted. CNN just reported it incorrectly, which is absolutely something they do on a daily basis.
That the item had been found on the roof. That makes a little more sense, But the idea still doesn't hold water. Supposing a screwdriver had been left behind, it can only have been discovered by the police, who were on the roof, as they were after half an hour. But at that time, early in the afternoon on Wednesday, that would have been a vital clue. We would have heard about it when Special Investigator Robert...
No, we may, you're acting like they're going to tell us everything. So, yeah, guess what, everybody? Because we didn't hear about it, it's therefore it didn't happen.
But Bowles gave his first press conference that evening. Moreover, that discovery would have been a source of other vital leads. Perhaps Sniffer Dog...
And how about this? Perhaps at the time it was a screwdriver. They didn't know exactly what the screwdriver meant until observing the footage over a few times, noticing a limp, and then realizing, they probably collected it and went, wow, okay, this might be related because this is where he was, and then determined that his DNA was on there. Doesn't that make more sense?
Dogs could trace the scent to other discoveries, or, supposing a discovery were made, links might be established. This is what happened after the evening press conference. That night, apparently, a rifle and towel was found, and they too bore DNA, though the suspect was as yet unidentified. 18. And truth be told, the evidence might not be pertinent. What if the gun was planted? In that case, one would expect the following question to arise. Does the DNA that we found on the screwdriver match the DNA we have found on the rifle and towel? Do they belong to the same person? Of course, nothing like that ever entered the discussion. Worse still was the story about the rifle retrieval. The idea was that Robinson returned to the...
They already said the DNA on the towel, the rifle, and the screwdriver are Tyler Robinson.
...wooded area where he had deposited his weapon in some bushes. The whole area was locked down now, and it was deserted, save for one lingering squad car.
See, these are the kind of people that were, like in the Delphi case, that the attorneys of Richard Allen relied on. People who think like this, just total shit, logic, terrible reasoning, intentionally leaving out factual information.
Robinson texted his roommate about it, with the implication that he was not going to... risk trying to get it back. Trouble is, the story has no independent verification until 2 weeks later we find a senior official, Bo Mason, relating the most astonishing story to the go-to journalist of the case. It turns out that the officers of that squad car had something to say after all. Indeed, they had actually made contact with the suspect, unbeknown. Full details cannot be revealed at this stage, and they had been suspicious enough...
See, you don't know if it's the same squad car that he had noticed before, the officer. Could have been another officer.
...to run Robinson's plate number through the system without, of course, triggering any response, as he was not that Wednesday evening under any suspicion. Later, though, the rifle was found at that location, but the unintelligently designed fig leaf, designed to patch up the initial embarrassment, sports 5 glaring holes. First, the police encounter with plate story lacks contemporaneity. Were it true, we would certainly have heard about it earlier. Second, there was absolutely no reason to divert valuable police resources and guard an area that at that time had no special relevance. Third, the account in the text exchange of Robinson driving up to a deserted area without detection is implausible. Fourth, had he really engaged the police and gotten away with it, that would have been reported in the exchange. Fifth, supposing that the police had taken no action after the plate showed nothing suspicious, they would certainly have become extremely interested had the place they had been guarding for no reason suddenly acquired significance upon the discovery of the killer's gun.
Now, they weren't guarding it for no reason. You keep
are a comedy of errors. They were apparently provided indirectly by the roommate, without police drawing on Robinson's phone or the computer.
Did any of you think it was weird that they blocked that street at all? And I would say no. That's just what they do. Especially when you know that a person went into the woods right there on that street.
A file that had a ridiculously tense note that was printed out but destroyed, save for a photo that happened to be preserved, and include such blunders as Robinson apparently knowing what the second arrestee was wearing, the author not understanding the difference between UVU...
we spent the entire night bleeding viewers.
Utah Valley University, and AWO, oh wow, and potential...
Yeah, except it wasn't U... I don't think it was UVU. I thought it was... I'd have to go back and find that. Hold on a second. Is it in this one? Yeah, it was OWO. That was in the probable cause, but it's actually UWU. All right. And so that was the 12th, 13th. And then... Is it this one? I don't think that's it. That's not it. That's not it. No. Okay, I think it's here. Wait, which document is this? I don't even know what case that is. But it's this document right here. See, this says OWO again, too. It doesn't say, never once do they refer to what it says on the bullet as UOVO. It doesn't ever say that. Or even UVU on a bullet. Never says that.
Potentially worst of all, Tyler texting Lance at a time when he would have been with him, as the texts the previous evening imply. This raises the interesting question of just where Tyler Robinson spent
totally
Wednesday
false.
night, if not with Lance. Candace Owens has suggested that he may have been with his grandmother in
Candace
Hanwich,
Owens suggested
as
it?
apparently
Oh.
credit card evidence indicate that he bought a steak in the Cowboys Smokehouse restaurant, or again, perhaps he was with his mother, supposing that she lives in Cedar City as reported, where he refueled the next morning. Both places are still 50 miles from home and 3 hours from Orem, rendering the nonsensical rifle retrieval story quite unfeasible. At this juncture, however,
What does that have to do with any of that?
we begin to stray into rabbit hole territory, and so we will call our study to a close. We have here drawn official sources and shown how implausible the FBI's discoveries were, how their stories shifted, and they managed to make very silly stories worse in an attempt to patch them up. We have left huge questions unanswered, such as, what was the suspect doing on Orem? Our hope is that the honest reader may agree that the truth is unlikely to be uncovered.
Oh my God, you guys, the honest reader. So if you don't agree with them here, that means we're dishonest.
By the FBI, and that he or she will start to wonder what was really going on.
What a joke. God, what an absolute embarrassment. You know, I'm sure Beanie actually believes in this kind of stuff. But man, well, yeah, what a just garbage argument. I was hoping it would be like something like, oh, okay, wow, you know, that's sort of an interesting take. It's not at all. Nothing they said, nothing in there was accurate when they were making their arguments. It was crazy. But anyways, I think that's going to do it, you guys. Thanks for watching. Got a massive lull there, so going to have to call it a night. All right, let's see. We had Monica Reeves, Cheryl Bullock, Paul Marino, Pancake, 20 months. Then we had Marty's Bar and Grill, and Jim Lawn, Paul Marino, then Richard Watts, Jim Lawn, Paul Marino, then Marty's Bar and Grill with a cat eye. Then we had Monica Reeves, Timothy Cecil gifted one, Paul Marino, Monica Reeves gifted one, Marty's Bar and Grill gifted one, then Jim Long gifted 5, then Amacalio gifted 1, and then Chris O'Connell gifted 5, and then gifted 5 again, and then Jim Long, and then Chris O'Connell Super Chat, then Timothy Cecil, Marty's Bar and Grill Super Chat, and Patty Brooke became a Megazoid, thank you. Then Chris O'Connell gifted 5, Marty's Bar and Grill, Chris O'Connell, Timothy Cecil, Then Marty's Bar and Grill, Chris O'Connell, Jim Lawn, Timothy Cecil, Chris O'Connell. Then I gifted 5. Then Jim Lawn. All right. Anyways, I am still sitting here. Man, what a ridiculous argument that was, man. Jesus. It's weird that you would take that much time with such poor reasoning skills, you know? It's wild. It does make it think that it was created in AI or something. But anyways, thanks everybody. I appreciate it. And we will see you tomorrow. If you come by here at like 11 tomorrow, I think I'm going to be doing the Tyler Robinson court hearing. All right? So that'd be sweet. All right, any of you guys going to show up for that? Anyways, we'll see you guys tomorrow. And hope you guys found the stuff interesting tonight. We had another couple shot, not a lot of information on that one. Hopefully tomorrow we get some more. And then we had went over this thing. It was sent to me on Twitter. I mean, I was mentioned in it for one portion, but I don't really care. It doesn't make me go, ooh, I mentioned, let me be nicer. It was terrible. Okay, so whoever did it should be ashamed of themselves for, putting people through just the amount of time that they had to take to read it. Okay. I'm not sure what happened right there. I just went through the earth for no reason. It just shot through there. But anyways, thanks everybody. Well, I got to move the mouse, Sydney. Are you okay, Sydney? You seem kind of stoned. Are you stoned? I'm just moving the mouse. Anyways, thanks everybody. We'll see you guys later. Be safe out there.
Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, thug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector.
That was a busy night for
Crime
Dean.
sector is my nectar.
They didn't get the troll
gonna
fund.
give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a
protector, fool reflector, interceptor. Guess what? I'm a spinner
with a vector.
What the hell are you
on
talking
his
about?
vector. With all respect, y'all.
Just remember,
I have a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda. I'm no pretender. And I'll serve you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send
What the hell are you doing?
on a mission to
I'm being beady.
offender.
Just didn't make any sense.
Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody? Talk to you later.
Thank you for watching Gray Hughes Investigates on YouTube, where we use logic, reason, and common sense to figure out true crime cases. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, be safe out there.
Bye. See you around.
Hey, that was pretty good. I like that last part. Let me do that again. Yeah, that's some good sound effects. All right, see you guys.